Welcome back to the We Was Banking podcast. I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm your other host, Chanel.
And we are back for the season finale of Industry Season 3.
Yay!
I don't know, Chanel. This might be my favorite show of the year. At least it's up there between this and it's like neck and neck with Shogun. I might go back and rewatch Shogun just to see, but it's like right there with Shogun, like right there.
What a journey. What a journey for Mickey and Conrad. What a journey for us. Like, again, if you're just now getting into our show, Brandon and I have been podcasting for more than 2 years now. And Industry was always a show I kept trying to get him to watch. And then he was like, I'm going to save it. So when season 3 came out, he watched it. And it's like such a beautiful thing to have a show that you were like, I promise it's good. And then it ends up being amazing. Like, because if I don't think you from season, episode 101 to episode 3808, you just don't see that coming. Like, you just don't see the beauty of beauty is the wrong word to describe this show. You don't see like
Yes.
the actual the impact of this show being what it is, or like the excitement that we have. Like, this bitch saying she's ready to go back to New York is like, what, she's going to fill Diddy's spot in the culture. Like, she's on, and what I mean by that is there's a huge gap left in New York. And she was like, okay, perfect. I'll move to New York now. Like, I'll be the new mogul. I'll be the new king of New York. So it's just perfect timing.
So before we get into this episode, because we got a lot to talk about, just want to thank everyone for listening. We had a lot of new listeners while we were talking about Industry. I hope you all stick with us as we move on to our next show, Penguin. Next week, we're going to do, because Penguin came out during Industry, we didn't want to confuse things. So next week, we're going to do episodes 1 through 3, and then we're going to get back to our weekly reviews of the show after that. Then following Penguin, we're going to jump into Apple TV Silo. So that's what's coming up next. So all the new listeners who joined us for Industry, we hope that you stick around, keep sending us feedback, keep leaving us reviews. We really, really, really greatly appreciate it and all the growth you've helped with this podcast. Speaking of that, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If it's 5 stars, we're going to read it on the show. We have a few of those, which Chanel's going to read in a moment. So keep leaving us reviews. You can also find us on YouTube, which we're streaming live right now on YouTube at youtube.com/@WeWasWatching. We've gotten a lot of subscribers recently. So please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, like our videos. We basically just post our live recordings on that now, but soon we're going to do some more videos and maybe some shorts or cool TikTok things for the young people. Chanel's one of the young people. She knows about that.
Okay.
I'm a dinosaur.
Very much in the similar age range, but yes, I do use TikTok. So I would love for us to get a TikTok popping. We also are on Twitter/X @WeWasWatching. And it's funny because we've been going back and forth about like buying premium so that we can stream directly to X. And Brandon always says, no, I don't want to give Elon that money. I'm like,
I was very close to doing it, and then I saw him tweet something, and I was just like,
what, is he okay? Like, I literally saw some tweets yesterday. I was like, this app has to, like, he's gonna kill this app single-handedly.
I'm okay with using the app of a terrible person because we all engage in products of terrible people, but like to give premium money to a terrible person is a choice. That's like going above and beyond.
He's OD. Like, this man is out here endorsing the purge. Like, it's just a lot going on right now. And so anyway, I just say that to say, like, yeah, maybe I'm glad I kept my little $8. But yeah, you guys, we are so happy and excited.
Oh, hold on. You forgot. You can also email the show. Forgot to say that.
Yes.
You can also email the show.
WeWasDragonsPod@gmail.com. Brandon will give us some emails in a second. I'll real quick. Oh, don't give that. What is that? Oh, don't give the $8. Thank you. Okay, wait. We have people watching and listening on YouTube. Thank you so much. Every week we are improving this show thanks to Brandon, who I owe $20 million over 48 months. And so as a result, he has been able to pop up your comments. So if you're able to catch us on YouTube when we are streaming live, we do it most Monday nights, sometimes Tuesdays, mostly Mondays. We will be able to put your comments on the show. You are right. I need my glasses. You are right. We should not be paying this man no $9.
Yeah, don't get that man no money. So you can.
Okay,
yeah.
So anyway,
we can emails on the show.
Reviews.
Oh, we got the
reviews,
emails,
and then we'll do emails.
Okay, do the reviews. Do the reviews.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Thank you.
We're very nervous. We're not. We're We're not.
No, it's so funny because like I always think, what if this is your first time listening to us? Like, and I don't want to oversell it because the last episode we oversold, like, guys, we're number one in the industry, and somebody was like, we fucking get it. Stop saying you're number one. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Okay. We LA Dad, we implore you to keep listening, get caught up because you will be able to hear Brandon's voice. And then at that point, we hope to go from entertaining to even more. We hope to go to 5 stars. So please get it together. Like Lil Wayne says, I'm not talking fast, you're just listening slow. And then from here's a 5-star review from Podgal5555. Refreshing POV. I enjoy the fresh POV the hosts bring to the table. There are already plenty of middle-aged white men talk about. If you don't speak on why our show is necessary, there are already plenty of middle-aged white men talking about industry. And while I enjoy every different POV, this feels relatable and intelligent while not necessarily over-intellectualized. Bravo. If bullet, I just want to like, we need the soundboard, Brandon, for things like that. I need my 5-star bitch. I need a 5-star bitch sound, and I need a gunshot sound, please.
I can
or
do
BB
that.
gun sound. Okay.
Next, for Penguin, we will have a soundboard, by the way.
We need to, what am I, an asshole? We need that. Even though he doesn't say that, that's what the show makes me feel. Finally, thank you for catching us, Tommy.
I need to make this bigger.
I need glasses. This Cuckoo Bananas ass show. I love it. Both of us, we are Cuckoo Bananas. Thank you for noticing. Okay, so thank you for that, Podgal. We agree. Like we will really talk this shit down like to the bones. Like we would definitely get all into it, but we also at the end of the day are like, if you aren't laughing at every show you're watching, something's wrong. And then from Letty Ruin said 5 stars, fun, sharp banter, in-depth recaps, lovey eyes emoji. Came upon your podcast right on time. Like he's always on time. I love industry. By the way, wait, they're filming Righteous Gemstones season 4. Yeah. Baby Billy's been showing his belt buckle. So God is praise be to He. That's another show we got
Billy's coming back.
That and Last of Us is coming 2025. So Lord willing, we're still here to recap. I love industry. HBO needed the play-by-play you so expertly provide. Now I get everything on the show: the finance talk, the British slang, the season 1 and 2 recalls for context, and your fun, sharp banter. Thank you. No, thank you. And then finally, best industry pod from 5 stars from Senor Snowflake. Thanks for the great pod. Loving it. We are loving you back. We also got some mentions on Twitter. We have Liam and Abe both told us that they love our takes on the show. Can't wait until it drops. And you know, all I know is all my bitches love me. That's all I know, and that's all I can think about when it comes to getting these 5-star reviews. Brandon is going to read the emails on the show. We know this is a lot in the beginning, but you guys don't understand. Like, we've been podcasting for 2 years, and when we got our first email, that's just as exciting as like our last email we get. Like, this is wonderful for us to be interacting with y'all. And so what Brandon's going to read that, I do want to say again, Vanessa, thank you so much for subscribing to the show. We mentioned it a while ago, and we need to start mentioning every week. If you guys want to be a part of like a very exclusive list of people who provide listener support, you can join Vanessa by going to anchor.fm/WeWasPodcast and signing up to support this show. Brandon, what are the emails saying?
We got an email from Disha, from T, sorry. And T said, "Hey guys, I came across your episode of Industry Season 3 as a House of the Dragon and House of the Dragons as an avid podcast chaser, and you've acquired a new fan. Your reviews of Industry are funny, entertaining, and informative. I appreciate the info and the description to skip the initial episode preamble and to get to the review. They're sick of you, Chanel. That's what that is. They're sick of you. Talking about Love Island. It's like, no. Some people loved it, I'm sure. As an Australian, I find your quips on British English rather funny. Glad Brandon has fixed his mic. I did. The podcast sounding a lot better now. Only criticism is I hate eating during the episode. You know what? I like you, T. I like you so much. Like, you and me, we are right here. We are right here. Besides that, keep up the great work. I appreciate that. We also got an email from Jason.
You're not wrong. She's not wrong. I won't say she's wrong.
And Jason said, nice episode recap. Love the long, in-depth analysis you two provide. Regarding Eric and Bill Adler, I don't think Eric was skeptical when Adler first told him about Mitsubishi. I just think he was keeping a neutral face and trying to digest, absorb all this information and the proposed plan from Adler. That's a good point. I think it's interesting to decipher just when exactly Eric decides to betray Adler. For me, it's when Wilhelmina Lady points out to him that Adler has often promised Eric the world multiple times in the past. You can see the wheel spinning in his head. That final scene in the boardroom when the new CEO slow walks the idea of permanently retiring Adler after he's left the building. Just spine-chilling greatness. I'm sure you guys knew this already, but just a reminder that Eric is older and hired Adler. This is Eric taking his power and assuming the role he believes he was meant to have. With respect to Yaz, I agree. With respect to Yaz, I felt for my girl this entire episode. She was faced with a bad decision. This is episode 7. She was faced with a bad decision, and I don't blame her for protecting herself. I'm glad that Rob is in her corner and forced her to acknowledge that not every conversation, interaction between them has to be a game of manipulation. I think she learned that. We'll talk about that this episode. Harper and Petra, LMAO, our girl Petra is over it. I can sense her frustration through the television. Do you think Otto will take her side or Harper's? I'm pretty too confident Otto will take Petra's because while he admires Harper's ruthlessness, people like him, ultra wealthy, do not want folks to play with their money. I said this last episode that he was going to be on Harper's side, and
this show is right. Giving. This show is taking it because it's giving you everything you need to hear from these. It's giving you your dirtiest pleasures.
So Jason, thank you for that email. We really appreciate you listening to, and I definitely agree with you on your points with Eric. And then the last email we got is from Keith, and he said, "Hey Chanel and Brandon, congrats on the pod's continued ascendancy. Just want to weigh in on one aspect of your excellent recap review for Useful Idiot. You guys were marveling at Harper's affinity for hotel life. However, this was established as early as the show's pilot. In a moment of triumph after landing her first trade with Nicole, Harper cabs to an elite hotel and savors a room." Oh, that's right. She did do that. Savors a room service burger while taking in the nightscape from the penthouse suite. It is a singular, purposeful closing scene, clearly establish her as someone who values the transitory solitude of life in a luxury hotel. You did note this character trait was fully on display at the beginning of season 2 with the difficulty Harper had weaning herself from the lifestyle post-COVID. As someone who also enjoys this blend of monastic with, she using these big ass words. This is Chanel MBA stuff.
I definitely had to look these up. I said, we're getting a new subset. Yeah.
Thank you, Keith. I agree. The Harper character is one of the most fascinating characters on television. I've said that since I started watching the show. And this episode, I think I'll get it. We have one more. I'll tell you this in a second. We have one more. We have a couple comments on Spotify, then we'll jump into the show. And those of you listening, just know in the show notes, you'll be able to jump ahead to when we get into the episode. But we did get we did get a comment from Charles on episode 7, Useful Idiot. And Charles said, "This is my second review. Sorry. As a black person, I definitely appreciate your approach. I also love the way you guys get into the minor details of the show. It's impossible to cover a show like this in less than 60 to 90 minutes. Keep doing y'all. This is the best industry podcast." Thank you, Charles. I was a little self-conscious about it, but an hour. So this was going to be a little long because it's the season finale. That's fine. But sometimes me and Chanel can talk, so we can go a little long. But no, Chanel, let's get into this episode. I thought that this finale was fantastic because they clearly wrote it as a finale in case it's a season finale or a series finale, right? They wrote it to kind of balance both those things. And a lot of shows do that, but a lot of shows don't do that well. And this show did it fantastically. And then the second thing before we get into the scenes is I thought this show talked about class a lot. But really brought into play like class over money, right? Like you can have a lot of money, but class is a different level of things, and this show showed those things. And
especially in England, where they invented old money
and people's roles in society. And then also, I loved how Harper and Yaz stopped pretending, right? They stopped pretending and they went and did what they're supposed to do. And then I love how Rob and Eric were able to get out of a bad situation from them by other people forcing it upon them, right? And so I love
Yeah,
that.
yep. Yeah, I mean, this is honestly, I'm still kind of basking in it because we got a lot out of this. Like, it's hard for me to process how great it is because I was really thinking, like, am I gassing this up? Like, is this as good? Like, why does this feel so good? And how is this so good? Like, it's all those questions. But I agree with you. It's like they were giving us a goodbye, but what I'm hoping they were really giving us is like three more seasons of three more seasons of like America, basically. So sorry, Tommy says some of it was sloppy, but it was a wild ride. The show doesn't know what it is and doesn't care. It's like the Houston Rockets. I agree. Yeah, like this show doesn't give that's what it is. It's like they don't need it to be a thing that makes sense to us. They don't need it to be a thing that like we understand. It's just like they're doing something very real and organic in the moment, and we're just here along for the ride, and I fuck with that. And again, like Mickey and Conrad can, they can they're just here, like there's lightning in this bottle right now, and I think we should just enjoy it for what it is because you never know when a season goes off the rails, and they haven't yet, and we're just going to enjoy that. So I think what I want to say at a high level is that, yeah, I think when we think about okay, sorry. Now that we have comments, I'm so distracted. So Kid C Rudy said, I still haven't decided if Harper is a villain or a tragic character I could sympathize with. I think she's both. And that actually is a point I was going to make next. I'm going to contradict myself in this recap because there's some things I feel about some people and other things I don't feel about other people, and it won't make sense. And it goes back to Succession when I was really hard on Shiv. But like I love women, that kind of thing. But yeah, going to Harper and Yaz, like they are very much themselves, and we're gonna have a better show for it because you have women who are like, no, like Yasmin's like I am who I am, and I think there's something very I can almost tolerate her now because she's not wasting my fucking time anymore. Same thing with Harper. Like Harper had a moment where at the end, in the beginning of the season, I was like, I was sad. I was sad that we might not see evil Harper again. Like I was upset. I was like, I cannot believe you guys beat this into her that she needs to be a good person. I don't want to see that. And by the end, I was like, oh God, thank you, God. Okay, we got our girl back. Like I literally was relieved. And then Robert, like, I agree with you. I want Robert to get out of it. And Eric is like Eric is really the one who I'm like, I don't know if he's a villain or not, because Harper's not wrong. Like he did create this environment. He did try to teach her how to play the game. But I also wanted Eric to come out on top, and I think there was a really beautiful thing of that, like class of 1996 Pierpoint thing. Actually, why I'm emotional thinking about it, and this is not real life. I don't know what's going on, but like the class of 1996 and Eric being one of the very few Asian associates who came in and like worked his way up for 30 years, like that is there. That story happens in real life, and so yeah, it's like you get wrapped up into this stuff, and it makes me question like, what is industry? Like, what does it mean? Because we literally are putting the coffin on Pierpoint, and I think they set this up beautifully so that this show can exist outside of Pierpoint. Because in the beginning of the season, we were like, how does this show happen outside of the trading floor? And they have really walked us towards it in a way where I still want to follow these characters. But I also want to like go to New York with Harper, and I also want to go to LA or go to West Coast with Robert, and I want this show to be filmed in America, and I want to know like what that next two seasons looks like. So that's a beautiful thing that they've done. And even if season 4 is completely bonkers, cuckoo bananas, I just want to applaud them for what they did by like not compromising on what this show would be and how ridiculous it could be for the first 3 seasons. So that's like my high level view. Like I know we're like you said, it's going to be a forever episode, so we can jump right into it. But I did really like. I felt like I almost cried during this episode, and I was like, "This is not a show that makes you cry." So I love that.
Yeah, so let's jump into the episode at 20 minutes. So perfect timing, actually. Yeah, I got emotional watching this episode. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we have a lot of clips this episode. So hopefully YouTube doesn't fuck with us. But we'll see. We went 20 minutes without doing anything bad. So usually they let you skate by on that. So the episode started in the future.
I did mention Diddy for some reason, so there's that.
The episode started in the future. Yeah, I knew it was in the future because Robert had a completely different haircut. And I'm like, look at this dude.
Like, I really thought that we were already in. I literally thought, okay, are we in California already? And he already has his job, which like actually it was. But then they went right back, and I was like, they went right back to the car. So I was like, maybe that was Robert in the car and his hair just kind of like I gaslit myself into thinking that was present day.
And Rob is pitching something, and he says, and this was so perfect. He says, "I know you have all been programmed to see something radical, but what I have here today really isn't new at all," which was like a microcosm of this episode, even though like some radical stuff happened, but like this is a classic story that they're telling, but they're telling it in such a unique way with unique characters that I love how they positioned it at the beginning. I said it was a perfect opening. So then they cut to the Pierpoint meeting with the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and Eric is pitching the importance of a bank in there to diversify their influence. If, for those of you who don't know, this is like a real life thing, right? There's a Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, and they're investing in all types of things. They're see, there you go. You can't help yourself. They're investing. There's people watching you. Just see. I'm not even going to tell the listeners who listen only. There's a sovereign wealth fund. The Saudis run it. They're investing in all types of things, right? Businesses, sporting teams. They're giving money, seed money to NBA teams, soccer teams. They own different soccer teams across the country, and it's all to like basically influence to change the view of Saudi Arabia, right? It's to like change how people view them, to get better views for them, get better Q rating for them, and to kind of spread interest among pop culture. They invested with WWE. It's a whole bunch of things.
It just translates to more money for them, honestly. And it reminds me of something I've heard like in a cultural sensitivity training about, or cultural awareness, where it's like you can be in any culture that has like all these rules for women, men, whatever, but money always carries power. So it's like people, the Western world can judge them as much as they want to, but if they can buy their way into the space, then it's like you will start to have some respect for their culture, whether you think the way that they operate is different. So it's a like he said, this is basically where this is going to be a state-backed bank. Like you can call it what you want to, but we're basically giving the Saudis like the chance to rule this bank. And for Eric, it just makes sense in the high level of it's not Adler's solution. It's not selling it off to a competitor. Like it's this third option that could potentially be better. But it's so funny because when what was it? It wasn't Mitsubishi. What was the third option? It was Barclays. Adler was like, would it be Barclays Pierpoint? Would it be Pierpoint Barclays? Like Eric's guard is a little bit down. He's not asking those big questions yet, and he probably should have. But for now, this is the best solution for our people involved. It sends Build home, and Eric has a chance, like somebody said in that email, to get the rightful position. Because I do think he did that calculus of like, wait a minute, if I keep being in Bill's slipstream, I'm gonna be dead before I actually move up into the role I deserve.
So the old dude makes a point to say, let's stop this bullshit. Y'all are state-run finance. We can, because somebody on the call was like, why are you guys showing your leg for these people? And so one of the people from the wealth fund said something in Arabic, and the translator was like, why is your imperialism better than ours? And I was like, yeah, okay, there you go.
And by the way, I forgot,
although in real life, like I see this stuff on Twitter all the time when people will be like, America is shit. And I'm like, yeah, America is shit. But like, there's things worse than, like, there's people that are worse. Like, that is a real thing. But yes, America is, I totally you don't always have to like make the, like, I get it. America is shit. But when, like, sometimes things are worse. If Twitter was around in the 1930s, somebody would have been like, Hitler is a piece of shit. And they would have been like, what about Roosevelt? You saw what Roosevelt did. And I'm like, yeah, Roosevelt was a bad person. But like, you don't have to compare him to Hitler. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing.
I agree. Okay, sorry. By the way, the YouTube's popping off. So I just want to acknowledge, thank you, Tommy. We are the best industry podcast by far. I agree. And then they're adding to you. They're saying they're really rapidly attempting to diversify. The Saudis, Emiratis, Qataris, they're just bad at it. So yeah, that's like a very good take. Yeah, I think this is interesting because just real quick, the showing your leg piece was funny because the street still doesn't know what Eric just saved the bank from. Like that whole equity debt bond exploding thing. That's why they're showing leg, because they're like, bro, we got to get this deal through. Like we're not being courted right now. We're putting on the first date. Like, let's make this happen.
So then Wilhelmina and Eric meet with Tom in like a separate meeting after this because they took like a break. Tom says he's flying to New York. He got to talk to some big investors, get them bought in, Vanguard, other investors. He got to get some buy-in. He says, we need to speak to the employees today. Make sure they feel like it's just another trading day. And he says, Wilhelmina, you talked to the people in London, right? And Wilhelmina was like, Eric was the one out on the floor. He probably should, he got a little gift of gab. They know him. Let Eric do it. And Eric was like, I got it. And Eric is like, I'm about to seize on this opportunity. Like you can see his mind go through that. Mm-hmm. And so you think you think Eric's going to talk to them. And so then they cut to Harper meeting with Otto at a fishing place. And I actually have this scene. This scene was great. I love Otto, right? I fucking love Otto.
Wait, can I tell you why I love Otto? And this is why it's going to be a 14-hour recap, is because the guy, and he was in Desperate Housewives. The guy they always call into black movies to be like the bad guy because he has like those icy blue eyes and that blonde hair. Okay. Otto is like him, but sexy. Like that guy looks like the Night King in human form on ABC, right? But Otto looks like a guy. I would let Otto lie to me. I don't know what it is, but like Otto, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I believe in all the causes. I'm extremely progressive. I want the trans aliens to get healthcare in prison. I want all of that. But if Otto was like, do you want to get married? I'd be like, yes, I'll be Lady Otto for sure. Turn me evil.
I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that.
I love Otto. It's so cute to me. Okay, keep going.
Let's play the scene.
Et tu, Brute. Harper, people who fuck around with my investments find themselves cut off from society. Invasions of privacy, bureaucratic entanglements. Do sit down. I have ways and means of making people's lives hell.
So what, you're threatening me out loud now?
If I told you sovereign wealth money had come into Pierpoint, would you use that information to take profit on your short?
The whole game is information.
I was born as a node in an average network. I worked hard to become a key node in an excellent. Betting on sure things is the aim.
Petra doesn't see it that way.
I'm very aware of that. And it's probably more shameful to trust our friends than to be deceived by them. She's a tattletale. And she's why I called you here. I want a spiritual successor to my operations. Peter's too old. And even he's lost the cloacal breath and bought a grouse more. I want someone who believes in trading like I trade, who understands that nothing comes from nothing.
Might be an interesting figurehead. The optics are good.
You'd make my fund look terribly modern. But I also want someone who understands and wears the attendant downside risks that I've worn for years now. Look, when you're as good as us, you don't get caught. But one day there may well be a rather loud knock on the door that requires a fucking expensive lawyer. Fuck me. That sort of sounds rather Faustian, doesn't it? Forgive me. I'm not Beelzebub. I'm something far more dangerous. A primate. Aware of his own mortality.
He literally cuts the fish with a knife and wants her to eat the fish off the knife. So I listened to an interview with the creators of the show after the finale, and they talked about that scene. And they said when they first shot it, they had Harper eating the food right off of the knife, but they cut it out because they thought that'd be confusing to the audience, given that she basically turned down the initial offering, right? So if she were to eat the food off the knife, it'd almost be like, yeah, I agree. Like, I'm going to eat off of your plate. Like, I'm going that route. and so they cut it out. But I would have loved to seen that just for like what that scene would have looked like.
Release the cutting room floor clips. I want to see like Robert aiming for the mirror and missing and having it come off the locker room floor. I want all that shit. Yeah, I think that like they gave us. It's fascinating to break the fourth wall and think about stuff that doesn't make it on here, because I really do love to think about this show as like a perfect, like they don't do anything different. Everything exactly as it is. They know what they were doing the whole time. Like they didn't try anything, experiment. They just knew. But I was so disappointed. Like when I heard this, I was, like you said, you were right about Otto. I was so happy that Otto was like, that bitch is a tattletale, and I need you to I need you to act like you got some sense and let's get this fucking money. Like that to me, I was like, this is what Harper has been looking for in Otto all her life. She thought Eric would be it, but she was like smarter or scarier than Eric. He can't do it. Otto was like, bitch, you can't outgame me. So like, let's go. Like, he's like, I literally want I want a Pinky to my brain. Like he's like, I want a Robin to my Batman. I want a Mrs. Madoff to my Bernie Madoff. Like I want somebody to help me like further these scams in the right way, and like you're it. And then he's also like, and you're a Black woman. Like fuck, there cannot be more perfect. Like I found me in a body that looks exactly the opposite of me. Like let's get this money. Literally, that's
I can be woke and not woke at the same time.
And
what he said.
You look woke, and I know you're like dead inside. So let's do this. Like
Yes.
it makes so much sense. And so I was like, going back to what we ask ourselves in the beginning of the season, will Harper ever be good? Is Harper going to fuck this up with Petra? It's like, at first we were nervous because we were like, this is her only option. Like she already pushed herself out of Future Dawn. What are we going to do? Is this the real her? She's being sweet. And I hate to say it, but I need her to be her. And like I wanted her to like go down this path and be this way. And I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but it's just how I was feeling about it. So
no, it doesn't. It makes you wanting to see a great character, because that's a great character. And the show knows that. There are a lot of shows that would make her have a hero arc. Oh, we're going to make Harper good. She's going to learn her lessons. And she learns her lessons in this episode, but her lessons are to be true to herself, which is terrible. So Agreed. Then we cut to a gas station. And Yaz is sitting in the car, and she looks over, and the woman pulls up in this little ass like car with her 3 badass kids in the back, and looking miserable as fuck. And Yasmin was like, "Oh, like I don't know about that."
Now, like bit of a spoiler alert, but because as you're saying it, I'm putting it together. Like Yasmin is in this at this fork in the road, right? Because she literally has been fired from Pierpoint. She has decided, okay, I'm going to fight the people who enabled my dad, which is coming up next in this scene. But she's also like spent this quality time with Robert, and Robert has told her like, you can let your guard down, and like I got you. Like don't play these games with me anymore. You don't have to try to like outsmart me. You just be present. And he's saying, be uncomfortable. I got you. I care about you. So she has that in front of her. Like she has literally the open road, all the metaphors, right? She has everything there. And those kids are like an example of what life could be like with Robert. Probably not, right? Like nobody's to say they're gonna have 3 badass kids. Like nobody's to say they're gonna drive a station wagon, right? Like she could still have an elevated, wonderful life with Robert. But I think the way that she sees it is it's either like living in a shitty house, a shitty flat, like in the hood, or like being in a castle. I think it's like 2 different things. And I think it's very interesting that after seeing this family and after seeing Robert just be like a normal person, the fact that nigga, that Henry is even on her mind. I have a
slightly different take than you. Okay, it's similar, but slightly different. So we'll get to it. She gets a call from Rose from Hennady Publishing. Rose says, "What the fuck is this email? How dare you intimidate me?" And grows a spine.
I forgot to tell you, Rose is an adult Luna Lovegood. Remember her from Harry Potter?
I didn't watch it. And you know what? I didn't watch Harry Potter. And my co-host on my other podcast, who's like a little brother to me, he loves Harry Potter, the books and the movies. Like he's a huge Harry Potter person. He made me go back and watch these Harry Potter movies. And I promised him I would do them. And I got all the way to the last one, and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore.
Well, See, okay, first of all, that's a whole different episode. We can get into that because Harry Potter was part of my childhood, so I can't really accept that it wasn't part of yours. But
Because you're
Luna
younger than me. I
Lovegood,
keep telling you that. You're a baby.
but he's also like Professor Tawny. That's who I really should have said, not Luna Lovegood.
Just so
like,
y'all know, Chanel just gave me the white supremacy sign. Remember on the Trump rallies?
what I do? What I do? That's what that is? That's not what that is.
See?
Okay.
Just so
They
y'all
can't
know
just
who y'all
co-opt shit
dealing
that
with
Black people
on the
do as a white
podcast.
supremacist. Are you joking? Like, this is a literally like this is a D9 symbol. Like, this is like a Black Greek symbol. There's no way they're I don't think people know they're co-opting the diamond. That's
Just so y'all know who we dealing with. Just want y'all to
Jesus,
know.
you're trying to distract me because you don't like Harry Potter. But basically, there's this professor with these big, thick glasses and bushy hair. That's why I said Professor Tawny, that Tonnelly. She's like the divination professor, and she's a kook until she gets like she channels a real message for Harry. But basically, this is the bitch who's reading tea leaves incorrectly. That's who wrote. She thinks she's slick, but I know Professor Tonnelly went and retired and now works in private equity.
So Yasmin grows a spine and is like, let me tell you what's gonna happen. Let me explain this to you. You gonna pay these motherfucking people, you gonna shut the fuck up, you gonna leave me the fuck alone, and we're gonna keep it moving. And she's like, who do you think you are? And I was like, she's like, I just told you what you're gonna do. This is a courtesy. If you don't stop fucking with me, I'm gonna go to the papers. And Rose is like, who the fuck do you know? And Yaz is like, you don't know my family, do you? And I took that as Yaz starting to realize I am an heiress. Like I am at a different part of society. I do have connections, right? She's like realizing I do have these connections. I can reach out to these people and I need to start living in myself. Like we talked with Harper, I need to start she took for most of the show, Yasmin was cosplaying as a normal person. It was like, I want to be this normal person. I want to live in this meritocracy society where I earn what I have. I don't want to take the money that my shitty daddy gave me. I want to earn my spot at Pure Point. There's a point in the show where someone was like, why does Jazz even work here? She don't need this fucking job. Like, I'm going to earn this job. I'm going to earn my money. Even though she's terrible at the job, I'm not going to just get it because I'm good looking. I'm not just going to get it because people want to fuck me. And I'm not just going to get in life because I got money. I'm going to earn my place. And she's like cosplay that.
She did literally get the job through her dad, whether she knew it or not.
And at this point, she gets here and she's starting to realize like, oh no, like that's not me. Like I am a rich heiress person. I as much as I think I don't want that life, she looks over, which comes up next. And she's before we got off the phone, Rose says you sound like your father. And she says, no, I'm nothing like him. He was weak. But she looks over and Rob's playing a fucking scratch off. And that just clicks in her head like, I love this fucking dude. But what the fuck? Like what am I doing?
I don't think she loves him, but that's a conversation for the end of the episode.
Okay, we'll talk about that because I disagree.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Okay.
So in that moment, I think she realized she needs to stop pretending. And so she gets on the phone, she calls Henry. Rob sees her giggling through the window. Rob comes to the car, he's like, what the fuck was so funny? And he was like, oh, I called Henry. And he was like, what did he want? And she was like, oh, I thought it'd be cool because if you could go talk to him and get some of his money for VC seed money. And Rob was like, you know what? I was thinking the same damn thing. Like, me and you, we right here. I was thinking the same thing. And she was like, you know, he invited us to come by his uncle crib. It's not too far from here. And she was like, Rob was like, you not tired? Okay, here goes. We got a comment about British jargon. So I wrote this down because I didn't know what this means. She says she got a jolt of energy just thinking of you rinsing the bitch's coffers. What is that, Chanel?
Wait, I've completely missed that. Who says this?
Yes, says this. Rinsing the bitch's coffers.
Oh, she's saying I'm excited about the idea that you could take all Henry's money. Fuck him. That's what she's saying.
What is coffers though? What does
Coffers
that mean?
is like where you keep money. It's like the old bank. Yeah. That's crazy because I was responding to YouTube comments. So I was like, I don't even remember her saying that shit. But yeah, she's framing it as this is why you don't ever trust these hoes because she's framing it as, oh yeah, that's my ex. But like, I don't take that nigga seriously. Let's go run his pockets. I'm gonna run in there and give him an emotional angle. You get him on a business angle. He'll put his little money in. Pity party, pity party. We're gonna bounce out. We're gonna drive back home to the house. We'll sell the house together. We'll live happy ever after. Just trust me. I'm done with him. If I wanted to be with him, I would be with him. That's literally what she's giving. She's like, and he's like, oh, I didn't even want to use his money. I don't want to bring him up. If y'all are not cool, she's like, no, we're good. Like,
no, he did want to use his money. He was just he didn't want to do it if it made her uncomfortable.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I just said. He's saying like I don't want to bring I didn't want to bring it up. Like, you know, like I don't want to make you uncomfortable. And she's like, I promise we're good. It's water under the bridge. I don't want that man no more. Like, we can go stay in his house. I'm not gonna fuck with him. Don't you worry.
But I also think she was doing this in a benevolent way. I got to give her credit on this because
I don't believe nothing she ever says ever
I
again.
do.
But
I think she was going to use what she was going to do with Henry to get him to help Rob so that Rob can leave, because she realizes, I think we'll talk about this later. I think she does love Rob, but she realizes that she's not good for Rob. And when Harper and Yaz had that conversation where they both told the truth to each other, we saw this episode, the fruits of that coming out for both, embracing who they are and what their truths are. And I think that she was basically saying, I've got to get Rob away from me, but I've got to do it in a way that is good for him, is what I thought about this.
Don't ever do that for me. Let me figure out for myself. I need to go away. Don't play with my emotions this whole time and then be like, but this is
playing with my money's like playing with my emotions.
Exactly. And even worse than that, you're getting to know me on a super deep level. Like, this is Rob we're talking about. This is not even Henry. Had she done this to Henry, I'd be like, oh well, like, you know, sucks to suck. But like, Rob actually is one of the few people this whole entire time has cared for her, even more than Harper. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, she deserves what she's gotten. But anyway, we can move forward.
So she then asked Rob if this shit works for Little Labs, are you gonna move to New York? And he's like, California. And then she asked Rob, did he win the lottery? And he goes, of course not. And she's like, and that clicked her head. She was like, of course this nigga didn't win the lottery. Like, what am I doing?
He's just here. That's the thing. Like, he's here for a good time. And she knows that. And so it's like you said, it's clicking. But I also wonder if, like, I think she just regrets that she was ever, I guess, I feel like she's like, what was I thinking? That's what's happening throughout this.
He says she sees Rob playing the lottery in that car full of kids, and Rob's only way out is to win the lotto. Henry is already out. Exactly. So then we get to Eric addressing Pierpoint, and everyone is kind of unruly and worried. Eric starts out and he's struggling. He starts talking about 2008. And I was like, I don't think comparing this to 2008 is a good idea, Eric. I don't think you want to bring that up. And somebody was like, in 2008, we had money reserves and good management. Like, basically, like, y'all are shit.
Yeah, he's basically like, what? Because basically, any bank that made it out of that time, right, is like, we made it out of the crisis because we weren't doing bullshit. So it's like, you're not really actually helping us because, like, we were never at risk. He's like, but we're literally at risk now. And that's not a better example because you're showing how, like, we don't have Adler. We don't have the guy before Adler. Like, he's really struggling in the beginning here.
So then Eric puts the mic down and he tries to get real. And I have this scene.
You know, I've stood in this room many times. I've watched a lot of you grow up. I think if I could see myself as a grad now, me, immigrant son, bespectacled, so scared of my own shadow, swallowing down the promises of capitalism and meritocracy. Do I look like a man who was lied to? Today? Our prospective partners believe in the principles that I heard on my very first day here. I cleave them to my heart. Like you have. Pierpoint people. This is what we're selling. How well you've come to embody what you've been taught. You are all safe. That's something. You are all safe because you are the asset. Growth and change are inevitable, but this process must be anchored in shared values. Pierpoint's history is a history of change. First movers, quick winners. Whatever alleged deal you've heard about represents two axes using economic trust to put themselves in the box seat of a new world order. They want us and respect us for our history. We choose to respect them for their vision of a shared future. This is how we survive. Remember, everything good comes from two partners willingly coming to the table. Orderly financial exchange is the basis of harmony. Money tames the beast. Money is peace. Money is civilization. The end of the story is money. Our partners believe this. They believe in us. We take their hand and build a bridge with our belief. Your desk is your house. That's right. So go home. Go to work.
This was like a Ray Lewis motivational speech for the London capitalists. Like, I know that speech probably made Chanel like sick because it was so like money is life, money is civilization. But if you're talking to that group of people, that's a pretty good motivational speech, I thought.
Well, I mean, I actually thought I was more thinking, thank God Eric actually is coherent right now because this motherfucker gets in front of people and says shit that just says words that don't string together. So I'm like, if this is like a turning point for them, I pray that Eric actually is able to say something that would like not make people want to walk out. So yeah, I actually was just like hyped for him to put two words together because whatever that I just think back to what he was saying to Yasmin in that cafe, and I'm like, just don't choke, brother.
So Wilhelmina is meeting with him afterwards. She was like, what was all that bullshit you were talking about? Money is civilization, blah, blah, blah. And Eric starts listing all this shit from books he's read. And he goes, you know, ESG bullshit. And I was like, I guess. And Eric gets a text from Tom and the CEO, and he was giving him a thumbs up. And so then they got on the floor. And by the way, the Pierpoint floor looks like complete shit. It's boxes and trash everywhere. Just like a fucking, just a disaster. Nobody's dressed up for work anymore. People in there wearing t-shirts and hoodies and shit and tank tops. They don't give a fuck. No one cares anymore. And Rishi, they say something to Rishi, and Rishi's like, I don't want to hear a word coming out of that cunt Eric's mouth again. And Anraj says he saw a message that they were getting bought by Al Murad, which is true. And Rishi gets a text from H saying, come to the office tomorrow. And then Rishi gets on the mic and says, hazing the old Italian geezer. Just to let you know, we reached the night circle of your cunting inferno. What the fuck does that mean? Having Arabs bid for your services. Now I finally know what an IG baddie feels like.
So I'm saying they just be saying shit. Like sometimes you gotta let them rock and just get their stuff off because it's like it's actually not gonna really make a difference. Whatever he says, he just needs to say that.
It's amazing what they've done with this comedic character, right? They've made him such a tragic, fucked up character when he's such a ridiculous. On a normal show, he would just be the comedy. Like the comedic relief. He's Kramer.
Yeah. But that's really his, by the way, that's his version of fuck you, you're cool, fuck you. That's really what he just did, but he did it in such a Rishi way of like, he had to put every single like comedic influence into one speech. And I feel like I'll go back later and be able to understand it. But in the moment I was just like, that, and they were like, boo, leave. We don't, that didn't
That's
land.
how you know
like,
he don't like his job. I heard somebody was like, you ever hear people talk about if I win the lottery, I'm gonna go to work and just tell everybody to fuck off, right? And I feel so privileged because I'm like, if I won the lottery, I would quit, but like, I probably would even put my 2 weeks in because I like my coworkers. I'd probably give them 2 weeks and leave.
Yeah, exactly. I'd hang out, I'd buy donuts. You know what I'm saying? I'd leave a hero. Like I would leave with somebody who like gave everyone good advice on the way out. Like, yeah, Rishi, I mean, but
he says it's a Dante's Inferno's reference. Okay.
Thank you. I mean, again, we're only so well read. Is what I'll say. Like a lot of my books had big text, if that helps. No, I'm just kidding.
Rishi leaves, and then Sweet Pea and Amraj kind of laugh, which should have gave us some foresight was what was going to happen a little bit.
Okay, wait, hold on. I'm glitching. Are you hearing that? Or is it just me?
No, it's just you.
Okay, that was just me. Okay, sorry. Say the last part again.
Sweet Pea and Amraj kind of laughed, so it should have gave us some foresight of what was going to happen in a few scenes.
Oh yeah, they were chilling. They are not freaking out. You're right. I didn't really pick up on that until it was later. Yep. Absolutely facts.
So then then we go to Otto at Leviathan Alpha, and Petra and Harper walk in, and Otto's like, "Oh, am I here to settle a dispute?"
Yeah, he's like, because he thinks, all right, whatever Harper's plan is, let's put this shit in action because I know my girl's on her way into me, and she's sitting there just looking at her, and I was like, what the fuck? Like that's what like Harper, don't piss me off.
And Harper looks confident, but also like conflicted. And Petra says they want this to be amicable, and she tells them that we made back all the capital you put in plus 8%. And that allows us to get out clean. So we're gonna cut ties with you. We're good. We really appreciate you giving us money. We made you your money back. We both profited it. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And Otto was like, "What about the Pierpoint short? What's up with that?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Well, we took profit." And Otto was like, "You did what? When did this happen?" Because he had just talked to Harper. He thinking Harper was going to roll with him after he gave her the inside information of Al-Miraj and shit. And
also like he gave her the permission to like do it however the fuck she feels like she needs to do it.
And she said, he asked Harper, "Is this acceptable to her?" And she said it was amicable. And he said, "Hid not thy poison with such sugared words." Look at this. Look at these lines.
I'm telling those people who read books with small text for sure.
Otto said he can't be in business with people who are comfortable with mediocrity. And I was like, Harper is pretending to be a better person than she is. Petra apologized to her. It's like, "I'm sorry for going behind your back. I basically had a moment." She was like, "I had a moment. I started freaking out. My back was hurting. My husband was getting on my nerves. He kept asking me for some. I was on the phone. The coffee machine didn't work. My delivery didn't show up. They left the pepperonis off my pizza. It was a fucked up day. I'm sorry. I freaked out. We good?" Harper was like, Of course I forgive you." Like, she was like, "I've been making so many unilateral decisions in my life. I don't really want to do that no more. I want a partner, someone I can trust, that can help me with things." And I was like, "Harper, that is not you." Like,
exactly,
I was like, that is not you. She was trying though.
Maybe I misread this. Like maybe Harper, because to be fair, like sometimes a lone wolf does have moments of refuge where they're like, "Bro, I'm glad that like somebody has my back." And so I think what I read from this is that she went back and told Harper told Petra, like, Otto pulled me to the side, but like, "Are we good?" So she probably just used it to apologize. And like you said, Petra's like, "Okay, it's all good." I'm actually surprised though that Petra was like willing to move past it, because I feel like that's not something that I would be willing to move past. Like if it was worth talking about, then it's worth like having conviction about. But I guess Petra's just like, "Okay, like I guess you're proving to me, like, you know, even though you messed up, you come back and apologize, so we should be good." But Petra should have had her head on a swivel anyway. Like I you know, again, everybody kept warning her she's gonna fuck things up. But I think Petra wasn't worrying about like, am I meeting Harper's need for excitement? And is this a scene where no, this is not that scene. Okay, keep going.
So then they cut to Rob and Yas, and they pull up to Lord Norton's estate, and this fucking shit is huge. Like this shit. I'm wondering who this
Stupid.
shit is in real life. Like this shit is huge.
Mhm.
Henry comes out to meet them. Rob and Henry hug. Henry walks up to Yaz and sticks his hand out. She gives him a left-handed handshake. I don't know if I can marry somebody who gives me a left-handed handshake. You don't
Is
do
he-
left-handed handshake. Left-handed dap. It wasn't even dap. It was like a limp left-handed handshake.
Yeah, I
Like
don't know what to say about it.
I ain't with that.
You don't fuck with it. Heard
No,
you.
I don't mess with that. So Henry said, I heard Almirage bought Pierpoint. And he says, Henry said, I had some Pierpoint stock for doing my initial IPO with them. And he was like, I may get
Cuts
some
money.
Prosciutto money out of that. And that caught Yaz by surprise. She's like, Prosciutto money? And he was like,
That
a
nigga's
couple
sick.
$1 million here and there. I could use it to buy some lunch meat. I was like, God damn.
He's sick. That man that's a sick man.
And then Rob says, I haven't told them that I'm not going back, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And then Henry says he likes the fucking shrooms, but he doesn't see it as a scalable thing because of legality, because it's not legal.
Yeah.
And Rob was like,
fair.
you gotta look in the future. Like Rob was going full like weed bro. Like this is the
But
future.
he's not. But
You gotta
he's
look
not
in the
wrong.
future.
That's the funny part about it.
You gotta open your third eye, Chanel. You see
He's
those
not,
two
but he
eyes
wasn't
there?
wrong though. Like
You open that
shrooms
third
is.
one.
If you have a chance, this is not investment advice, but if you have a chance to invest in shrooms, I would, because it's a long-term investment that will definitely work itself out.
When I was in college, when my first year in college, I was in finance class as a freshman, and my professor said, Apple, this is how old I am. Apple is the future. I'm taking my bonus and I'm investing all my money in Apple stock. And if you get, she's basically like, if you guys get some refund money, you should take that and invest it in the Apple stock. And then like 2 years later, the iPhone came out and, Apple stock went insane. So I bet you that dude is rich right now.
You didn't do it?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Oh.
I bet you that dude's rich.
Teach-
So
Teachers are there to teach you for a reason, friend.
I know. It happened. I know. Don't remind me. So he tells Henry tells Rob, if they make you CEO, just don't open the IPO too early. I was like, look at him being self-deferential.
No, shut the fuck up. Because first of all, you forced that IPO to open. They told you not to do it, and you did it. Like, this is what's so sick about Henry's character. He knew what he was doing the whole way. He just like, what I think happened in hindsight is Henry was like, look, the way I'm gonna do this is gonna make me money. But maybe it'll help other people. I have no real reason to think it will, but like maybe. Like he knew the whole time he had his own parachute ready to like pull out. So it's so funny for him to be like, oh man, I learned a lot from failure. Like, bro, you planned to fail. That was an ideal outcome for you. That was actually easier for him than actually managing a successful company.
That's true. So Henry says he's opening a circuit for speakers of people who had public business failures. That is so absurd. And then he said he talked to he tells Yaz that you don't know how powerful a recentering can be. A recentering, which I love that word. Henry says he talked to the prime minister and he also wants to dedicate his life to public service. So he's basically trying to present himself as like this new person, yes, but she's not buying the bullshit. And then he tells Rob, if you keep talking to me, you're going to give me no choice but to back your venture. And he says, there's something about you that makes me want to kill you or love you. And I don't know which one yet. And I was like, that's a great line. And he says, he asks Yaz, he asks if they're going to stay the night, and they're like, I don't know. And then he was like, stay the night. My uncle's birthday's tomorrow. After that, we can go.
I have your rooms ready and I have your outfits picked up. Basically, he doesn't actually have the outfits, but he's basically blink twicing them. He's like, I have your measurements already cut up. Like the food's cooked. Like your flight is booked for tomorrow. Like just stay. He's so old money. It's like, this is clearly what he was going to do with his life. That's what I'm saying. Like, he never really wanted to be a tech startup founder in Silicon Valley, like going around pitching his deck. He wanted to just be in his manor.
And so Rob asks, I said, okay, we'll stay tonight. And Rob was like, thank God, because I'm knackered. You ever heard that word, knackered?
Yes, he's tired. He's sleepy. And the best word ever is, they call a nap a kip. I need to kip or get a kip.
A kip? Really?
KIP. Yeah, they're like, I'm kipping in the car or something like that. They say kip. It's so cute.
He said, supper tomorrow for his uncle's birthday and shooting on Sunday. He'll send someone to Net Porter because he knows Yaz's outfit at Yaz's size. So I looked it up because I kept hearing that word. And Net Porter is a luxury fashion and beauty lifestyle brand for women.
Mm-hmm.
And they got some expensive ass shit. This is the one where he said he let Katie, Caedi.
Oh, that's what it was.
Where he had Katie have like a account there to buy shit, right? I'm trying to tell you, I'm looking at this Net-a-Porter stuff, and they got like $13,000 like basic ass necklaces, like $4,600 maxi dresses, like expensive ass white women shit. I guess some black women would wear this, but yeah,
I think
it's like expensive white women shit.
This is a side note, right? Like when we, because again, for anybody who like doesn't know, when we talk about race, the reason why is like, it's not our fucking fault. The reason why things are the way they are is because like all these systems were set in place so that black people would not be able to achieve. If black people, Asian people, and Latin people were able to like not have all these barriers, we would just talk about money and class and not the race part. So like if all these barriers hadn't been in place, there'd be plenty of black women walking around with like $20,000 ugly shirts on. It's just like, because there are so many barriers, when a black woman gets money, she's wearing cute shit. She's not wearing this old ass, like these slip dresses.
That is not why. That don't got shit to do with barriers. That is culture.
Yeah,
taste.
exactly. But I'm saying like I think
the shit look, the Net-a-Porter stuff looks good. It's not ugly shit.
I guess I'm just trying to say our culture.
They even got black models. They got black women models of the shit. I'm looking at one now.
I think what I'm just trying to say is when people say like, oh, what does race matter? It's like, you made race matter. Like if race didn't matter, you'd see a lot more of like us doing dumb shit, like spending $20,000 on a leather jacket. Right. But because I open this up, it says, there's a dress. Did you just try to tell me that this stuff looks good?
Yeah, some of the stuff looks good.
Okay, God bless. So yeah,
you don't know high fashion, Nicole Hannah Smith Jones. Okay, you don't know high fashion. I'm trying to teach you about high fashion and the stuff of the rich and famous. Okay.
Thank you.
So when you get on that level, you can fit in.
Calling me Nicole Hannah Jones is so. That's crazy because our hair is the same color right now. But okay, let's move on.
And so Yaz says, yeah, we'll leave tomorrow, but we'll stay the night tonight. They put her in this room with all these aristocrats pictures and like, it's the ugliest fucking room of all time.
Room. Yeah, exactly.
And Henry knocks on the door. He apologizes. Yaz was like, yeah, I'm good on apologies right now. We're all terrible, right? And she says, I'm not buying this fucking rebrand. And then Henry brings her some expensive wine and she starts smiling. So then my favorite scene is Rishi's meeting with H at Leviathan Alpha. And I have this scene.
A moment.
I'm glad you had the sense to hire me. I always felt like we had a bond, you know? The type of people who want for everyone.
But are definitely for someone, right?
Tell me.
For my own sanity, when exactly did you and Eric decide to fuck me?
That's water under the bridge.
Exactly. Water under the bridge, so indulge me.
Snowborn can gaslight someone like Harper, the greatest of all time, the GOAT.
Reception at my wedding.
Your wedding. Thanks for that.
She
by the
doesn't
way.
get to, by the way, she doesn't get to be like, oh, your wedding. You fucked that man on his wedding day. You're not like, you were
But
not.
isn't
this
that what she
little
just said? Listen.
Your wedding.
Okay.
Thanks for that, by the way. Sorry I didn't send a card.
Isn't she
think she's
saying
saying
thanks for fucking me?
No, she's saying thanks for inviting me to your wedding. Like, thanks for the opportunity to go to your wedding. I think that's what she's saying. But even if she isn't, my point is like, she's not this sweet little girl who people were like, oh, I can't believe Harper's here. Like, she was out here moving and grooving. And then they fucked her because she was moving like a psychopath. I'm sorry.
Eric sidles over and he just says, she's got to go. Actually, I think he said that psychopath's got to go. He was pretty loaded, so.
Do you think I'm a psychopath?
I don't know. Does it matter? They walk among us.
I guess.
I love that line. They walk among us. That is true, though. There's some crazy people, and I don't mean crazy in a pejorative sense. I'm just using it as a general term. There's some crazy people walking the earth that you just
Bruh, Pure Point is full of most of them.
deal with every
What are we
day.
doing here? Like that, she's really gaslighting the shit out of him.
Emotional detachment probably makes a good traitor.
I agree.
Yeah.
She's basically calling him a psychopath, too. She's like, that makes a good trader.
Opportunism. Predatory instinct. Do you consider yourself a predator, Rish?
And I was like, uh-oh. And here comes my girl, Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea's gonna be working with us.
This is probably the nicest thing Harper has ever done in the history of the show. Like the most benevolent thing that she's ever, well, this and helping Yaz cover up letting her daddy die are the two
Benevolent
nicest things she's
I
ever
didn't-
done in the
I
history
did
of the
not
show.
see this as nice.
Oh, this was nice. I mean, she don't really have nothing against Rishi. Like, what is she? I mean, her and Rishi got in an argument. Eric really fucked her, not Rishi. Rishi was just along for it. This was
I mean,
her
that's fair.
getting
I
back
just-
at.
For
Because
Sweet Pea,
if
right?
you
But-
remember a couple episodes ago,
Mhm.
he says, I need a job for me, Sweet Pea, and Anraj. And she goes, okay, I'll see what I can do. And then she calls him back, and he says, and she says, actually, I can't hire 3 people. And he says, you know, it was me all along, H. And they cut back to Harper, and her face was like,
Mhm.
this dude, man, I can't believe him.
Yeah,
Right?
but she put him in that position. Like, okay, here's what I'm gonna say. I hear what you're saying. Harper's a bad person, but
No, I'm saying Harper's a good person for this. This is the best thing
Okay.
she's done.
I thought this was unfair.
Oh my gosh, no, you are not defending him.
Here's why. One is that he did try and she did push back, and so he's not in a position to not take the job. So he's not in a position to say, oh, okay, I won't leave without my team. Because to be fair, these are people who just like had their feedback for him in the HR meeting. Like I'm just saying, like, this is not, he's being nice, but like he doesn't owe Anraj anything. He maybe owes Anraj for like the abuse or whatever.
Abuse,
And maybe
yes.
Sweet Pea. Yeah, like okay.
Yeah, yes.
I'm just, but that's Pure Point's fault for not managing that. Like, it's not necessary. Like, the only time they called this man into a room was when he was losing money. You understand that? Like, he is not he should not bear the responsibility for like the culture being terrible. With that said, he still should bear accountability for his actions. I just think that like Harper is somebody who like she's not the moral police because she fucked Rishi too. And so if you think that Sweet Pea was being taken advantage of, which I think that if I don't remember the exact structure, but if he is actually her superior, then yeah, they shouldn't have been doing that. That is like technically harassment if I'm in Britain. And also like, but I think that she seemed to me to be a consensual willing partner. So I guess like it's one of those things where he shouldn't have done it from a work perspective, but I did not perceive him as feeling like preyed upon. But it could be that that's how she felt. But like the only time we talked about the sex was,
Well, we know that because when they were in the coffee line,
yeah,
that's when they brought up she was fucking. But she's like trying to get him to like, hey, can you review my paper? Can you review this? Can you review this? And she's like, oh, I'll give you whatever the fuck you want as long as you give me that pussy.
Right. But he wasn't. But that's not this. That doesn't tell me that the way that they started the relationship with now. What I will say now, I'm thinking about it. It probably was started by him, and he's a superior, and so like maybe there is a power dynamic in place. What I guess I'm just saying is, I assume if it was her coming to him like, "Hey, I want to fuck," and he's like, "Let's do it," that would be fine. Like I don't think that it's inherently a power dynamic issue because he's never penalized her for having sex with him. The problem is that the reason why there's rules in place is because just in case he does want to have a bad day and be that way to her, she's protected by not being in that relationship with him. So I say all that to say I did not feel that he was like preying on her in that way. But if that's how she feels, that's how she feels. I just didn't think that the show gave us like breadcrumbs beforehand, like, oh, this is like Rishi's in a bad way. Same thing with
Yes,
Harper,
they showed
right?
us that Rishi is an abusive asshole to everyone.
Right. I
They
just
made
didn't
that
think
clear.
that applied, but I did not think that applied to the way that they framed the relationship to me previously. Was it was consensual and Sweet Pea was getting what she wanted out of it, which was good reviews, no problems. Rishi's not doing anything to her in the office. I could be wrong. I'm just saying, like, what I'm trying to say is there was not an inkling for me that she was uncomfortable with it. If she's saying it now, she's saying it now. What I'm just trying to get it across is that, like, I was like, damn, where is this coming from? Does he know that she felt this way? And I'm not saying it's her fault for not telling him. I'm just saying, like, I did feel like, damn, like he didn't know that she thinks of him as like a perv. I don't know if he knows that. But the more I think about it, it probably maybe it was something she was just going along with because it was her boss. I don't know how it started up. And then he is an asshole for throwing the sex work back at her. Like, so he clearly does not value her or respect her.
Oh no, you ruined the
just-
rest of the scene. We got
Go
the
ahead.
rest of the scene.
Yep. Yeah. Go ahead.
What's this fucking blind date? What are you doing? Are you like trying to humiliate me or something?
I wanted to give Sweet Pea the pleasure of watching someone treat you with as little respect as you treat them.
Boom. You cannot say he treated her with respect. He did not treat her with any respect this entire time. And that's what this is about.
I totally agree. Again, just to
And I think
clarify,
Harper has a soft spot for Sweet Pea because she's not a dummy like Yaz. When she called Sweet Pea into her office to try to get that list of ESG clients off of her, Sweet Pea read that shit like a fucking book and was like, I'm not giving you a fucking list. This is stupid. I'm leaving. Right. And I think it's something about that Harper respected. And so remember, Sweet Pea was going there for an interview. That was for an interview. And I think that was her passing the interview to Harper. Like to Harper, she passed the interview. And then she realized, and then on top of that, she got to fuck with Rishi because she thinks Rishi's an asshole.
Yeah, I think the way you're reading is right. I guess I'm just saying, like, if we break it down into like the timeline I'm seeing, how is the way that Harper treats people not also abusive?
Of course, she's a hypocrite. I didn't say she wasn't.
Well, so I just said it to say that's why it's like with Rishi, I'm like, yeah, is he verbally abusive? Like, yes. I was just saying that I did not know from context before that Sweet Pea felt that way. I'm not saying she doesn't feel that way. I'm not saying I don't accept it now that she's saying that. I'm just like, I did not see that coming because the way that I read that relationship earlier was like, it is quid pro quo. They're both consenting. Like she's getting something out of it. And maybe I thought she was like, she
consented to fucking him, but I don't think she consented to his constant abuse and badgering and jacking off to his fucking her OnlyFans and bringing it up to her at work and making smart ass comments to them in public. Remember the earlier show, I was like, he was making comments about her in front of people and doing eye gestures and shit, and it was weird before we knew that they fucked.
No, you did, yeah. And then she was laughing it off. So again, that's what I'm trying to say is that I did not pick up on so I'm saying either I didn't pick up on it or they did, like it was a one way to come out the other way kind of intentional thing where I thought that she was into the relationship. That's what I'm trying to say. So you're
Kid
right
Cudi
though.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Kid Cudi said Rishi is funny even when he's drowning. God damn. Oh yeah, this is about to be funny here because this is the funniest line.
She's fucking brass.
She's fucking brass. This line he's about to say. I rewound it like 4 times because I thought it was so fucking funny.
She hawks her beef curtains on the net.
She hawks her beef curtains on the net, bruh.
Okay.
That shit is so fucking funny.
So bros is actually like sex worker slang.
Is it?
I didn't know that. It's sex worker slang. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. So if anyone, I don't want this to be clipped up the wrong way. Rishi is a bad guy, but I've always talked about Rishi being bad in the way that other people are bad. And I think that it was almost like a guilty pleasure for Rishi to be like able to have sex with Harper, but like it doesn't mean like it was consensual. It was weird, it was bad, but it was consensual. And he shouldn't have cheated on Di, but like it is what it is. I think that like there's always been sex in these environments. And then there was like the Nicole thing, which was like objectively wrong, and like we dealt with it with Venetia and Harper or whatever. What I'm just trying to say is that like I did not see this coming. I did not know that Sweet Pea felt that way, and like that either is a loss on my end or something like something that they were doing to like give us this sweet like return at the end. And I just feel bad that like I didn't interpret it the right way. With that said, definitely fuck Rishi in terms of how he treats his team members. Like I think Anraj owes the same way he doesn't owe Anraj anything. Anraj owes him nothing, and Pierre Point should have did a better job of improving the culture. Similar, and also when we see like all the good people got pushed out of Pierre Point, so that only like at the end of the day it was literally one of the rings of hell because they're not the best people in the world left there. And then when it comes to Anraj, I think him wanting to fuck him is fine. I just was like surprised by this. That's all I'm saying.
It's okay.
I do think Rishi's bad. I do think Rishi's abusive. But in this moment, I was like, Harper, how are you the one delivering justice?
Everyone listening, just know Chanel felt bad for Rishi. Just want y'all to know. Brass nail is the term.
Bad, but also want him to have consequences. I can have both. Yeah.
Brass nail is the term in the UK for a prostitute or sex worker. I had to rewind it because that shit is funny.
It's an evolution. No, it's like so brass nail is a Cockney term that rhymes with tail, which is how you get to prostitutes. Like it is kind of like a evolution of a cuss word. So bras, when he says bras, he's referring to brass nail or like sex work, whatever. So yeah.
Here we go.
She's fucking brass. She hawks her beef curtains on the net.
So funny to me. Beef curtains. I've never heard that term before.
Brandon, you must be a good person because the stuff you've never heard is like.
I just use the real words.
Oh, that's true. I've heard beef curtains for sure.
Beef curtains is a vulgar slang term for the vulva, especially when referring to vaginal lips that are particularly pronounced. What?
Yeah, it's like when you didn't know like women directed porn. I'm like, wow, I have a really good co-host. I have a good person as a co-host.
No, I just didn't think there were subgenres to porn based on who directed it.
You don't. This is also a very white guy way to talk about vagina, by the way. Like white men has all these other words instead of just call like there's one other word for vagina, right? There's one other word for penis. Like these are words that I hope this isn't demonetized. We're not getting monetized. It's fine. Like there's one other word for it that black people use. White people will use all these other words that just like distract the meaning. That's a fact.
Kid Cruddy said Eric and Rishi are both avatars for the old guard. Eric in that he perpetuates. Oh, it's kind of weird looking. Perpetuates that toxic work culture that's not unacceptable, and Rishi with his racism and misogynistic views. Yes. Okay, let's finish the scene.
I'm well aware of Sweet Pea's extracurriculars.
What, and you think that's acceptable for a hire, do you?
I love a woman who doesn't leave money on the table.
See? That's my girl.
She's like, about her.
Get your money from OnlyFans, girl. I support you.
I did not know that about her.
Girl power. Women power.
I never knew she was a girl boss. I didn't. Well, actually, Harper is the quintessential girl boss. I take that back.
That's right. Don't leave that money on the table. Just don't show your feet in a racist chat room. As long as it's not a racist chat room, you good.
And eventually they'll forgive you anyway if you do that, so it's fine.
Reach, let's be straight. You are not without charm, but you are a punter. A chancer. A dinosaur. There's no room for you in the modern market. A machine could do your job.
Woo! A machine can do your job. Look at that cutthroat.
They already do. Time's up.
All right. You know, I've made mistakes. okay? I can admit that. Look, I don't want to swan in here and tell you how to do your job. That's not my job, okay? I'm an execution guy. You'll always need an execution guy.
We have an execution guy.
Who?
That's what I knew was Anraj.
Please, you have no idea what you're doing to me here.
Like, respectfully, you make it very hard to give a fuck.
Please listen.
Yeah.
Listen, you don't understand, okay? I need liquidity. Please.
I was watching this with my wife, and that's when I said, "Oh, I said Rishi finna die this episode." That's not exactly what happened.
When
but-
we get there, I have a bit from the creators. They talked about this.
So then we cut to Lord Norton and Yaz, and Yaz says, "Your paper keeps buying these fucking pictures." And he was like, "My editors." He was like, "Bitch, stop." She's like, "Bitch, stop hiding behind your fucking editors. I know that shit's you. Like, you're fucking with me, basically." And she asked, "When are you gonna print the Alondra stuff?" And he was
again,
like,
just for
go ahead.
context, like this is Henry's uncle who they're celebrating. So she's staying there for the weekend to celebrate him.
Lord Norton.
And Lord Norton, and he's the one who runs like the Daily Mail basically, and he's the one who called her before, like, "Hey, if you go check on Henry, I'll make sure that our newspapers don't come after you." And so she's like, "All right, nigga, I haven't called Henry. When's the other shoe gonna drop? What's going on?"
He didn't say
and
if you check on Henry. He said if you be with Henry, if you save him
yeah, like
from going down the path of his daddy.
Yeah, and she's like, "All right, so with that said, like, when are you gonna drop it? Like, quit." She's like, "Quit playing with me." And he basically starts to explain that girl that was her father was having pregnant sex with on the boat is basically has a story to tell.
And she asks, when is she going to, he said she won't be easily appeased. She just had a baby. She ain't got no money. Like, it's going to take a lot to get her to be quiet. Yaz says, "I want to take care of her." And then Lord Norton gives this really interesting speech that I was not expecting from this character, that I thought was interesting. So here we go.
I used to hate this house. In my bones. I had 3 older sisters my father never cared for. He was obsessed with the execution of the estate and what he bequeathed and to whom. Then I was finally born, a boy, hurrah. Doted on by women, rather fey.
What does doted mean? Like hit on?
Cared for.
Oh, cared for.
He hated me too. He bred a particular strain of misandry in me, which has led me to maybe a rather regressive view. A feminine touch built into a family saves it from itself. Perhaps it's even misogynistic to say it. But I found a capacity for self-destruction to be a more male trait.
I think people tend towards it anyway. It's not gendered. And I don't think that the key to Henry's salvation is in some random girl.
Your unwarranted public shunning for your privilege shouldn't blinker you from your own exceptionality.
This was so interesting. Yasmin has never had like a male figure like tell her anything other than you're here to fuck people, basically. Like that's why you're here.
I mean, she hasn't had anyone tell her that because she was in a job she wasn't particularly good at, and her dad was shitty. So yeah, both of those.
And so he's both giving her encouragement and also reminding her, you're Paris Hilton. Like, you're a Hilton. Like, you know, you are someone of someone. You're someone with a name. Like, you're of someone of status.
Hilton money's still too young. Like, literally, like, you're a Kennedy. She's saying,
Well,
like,
no,
you're a fucking
Charles Hennady is like from a publishing thing. So I don't know how old their money is. It's just
He told
in
her
those
before.
circles.
No, before the embezzlement, he was like, "We have money for generations." So I guess like Hilton would be interesting, but this like Hanani went to school with this nigga, so it's like clearly
Yeah.
there's some generational stuff there.
You're not a random girl. May I speak candidly for a moment?
Yeah, of course.
I always knew your father was a predator. There were a number of disciplinary hearings at Oxford, which he only wriggled out of because of the quality of the lawyers he could hire. You know that has nothing to do with you. Yasmin, look at me. That has nothing to do with you. Do you understand? It really has nothing to do with you at all.
She needed to hear that really bad in that
No,
moment.
she didn't, because when a woman tells her that later, she's not with it. She gets on her
I
mind.
didn't read that as that either. We'll get to that. I didn't read that the same way you did. But she needed to hear that, particularly from someone like him.
From a man with money, exactly.
Then he gives her a hug. And
I'm
it's like the
sorry.
first hug she's ever gotten from like a man, probably, that didn't like feel like it was sexual. Like the way they were, like it was just like I'm here
mean,
for
it's
you type
fatherly.
of thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
very
it's
fatherly.
fatherly.
Like you could tell on her face that like she was kind of experiencing something she's never experienced before. No, I'm
But
not
to
trying
be
to laugh at
fair,
her,
though,
but
too, she's giving him this because he's also a rich man on the same level. Like,
well, of course.
she doesn't, I don't think she wants just a father. I think she wants a rich man father that can give her
Yes.
what she believes she deserves. Yep. She doesn't just want love. She wants love from a certain person.
I haven't wished you a happy birthday.
You just did. I am fiercely protective of my family. And I always use my not insubstantial power to protect them. But then again, life's about the family you choose.
Great fucking scene. What a great scene of television.
Yeah, I think he says a lot there that like, you know, I don't even think we have the time to break down, but one thing I did catch later was him talking about like the house as a metaphor, but also being something where he's letting her know that like he's basically letting her know the sacrifices that they make to be rich are worth it. I think that's really what he's saying.
Yaz sits and thinks about that conversation for a while, then goes and knocks on the door, and you think it's going to be Henry. Like, you think she's like, when he says, you got to choose your family, you think she's going to go knock on Henry's door, and instead it's Rob. But when I was watching the show in real time, I was like, oh, she's about to give Rob one last night of his life. Something that he
There's
can
no way.
remember.
I did not see none of that coming.
Oh,
Like,
I saw it coming.
I think it makes sense, but I was just, I mean, with the Rob thing, I was like, yeah, actually, you know how I said, like, I thought Harper was going good and then she was going bad and I was mad. I actually thought Yasmin was going to make a good decision for once.
She did. I think she made the good decision. She didn't make the
She made
wrong
a good decision
decision.
for herself, for sure. Okay. I mean, no,
Listen.
she definitely made the best decision possible for Robert. That's one way to think about
Yeah,
it. But, like,
and
she didn't-
herself.
Yeah.
Well, herself
Yeah.
as she is. Not who we think she should be, but as she
I mean,
is.
yeah, like I really feel like in a way though that's settling because she's like, well, this is, I guess, what I deserve. And I guess that's okay if she's okay with not being the best possible person she can be.
So then they go out for the grounds, they go for a walk, they start holding hands, they're playing around, and then they start fucking. And he
Having
asks,
sex, this is a very nice way of doing it.
yeah, this was the
not
nicest sex they've had on the show.
Yeah, they had like a very like sweet moment
Usually the sex on the show is very raw.
for sure.
he asks her, "Where can I come?" She goes, "Inside of me." And then she tells him she loves him 3 times, and then he says it back. And
she
then,
goes, "Do you love me?" That's what I'm saying. She's a sick bitch because she went out of her way to say, "I love you. I love you. I love you. You love me."
Yeah, but
And
if
he
you
goes,
remember the episode before, she had said that she had never loved someone before, and she doesn't really know what that feels like. And this,
but
I
Robin
think
has
this
already
is her.
told her that he cares about her. So I think that in a way, it's like you emphasizing it and making him say it is like, for what was the reason? That was just for you to feel better. Like, you know how he feels about you because he's the only man that treats you like a human being.
Well, no, she didn't say that to him. She said that to Henry.
No, she told him last week, "I don't know if I'm able to love." And he was
Yes,
like, "Well, I'm able to love.
but
I've
she
always
didn't
loved
ask
people."
him, "Do you love me?" She asked Henry that.
No, but she knows he loves her because he's the only man who
No,
treats her with respect.
you're missing what I'm saying. She never, in this episode, she never asked Rob if he loves her. She
Right,
asked
but I'm
Henry
saying
that.
she doesn't have to ask. She asked Henry because she was having a special kind of rich people conversation with Henry. What I'm saying is that this is the only man of all the men we've seen that actually loves Yasmin. She knows that. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, I think Henry does care for Yasmin in a way.
He loves her in the way that Yasmin loves him. She loves her in that, like, I don't know if I actually ever really love someone, or like, is being rich and being loved the same thing. That they
Yeah.
have that. I'm saying Robert loves her in like a human,
Unconditionally.
yeah, like, well, just like the
Yes.
way that we act, that like love actually is. Like, he actually loves her for the definition of love. What they have is like some other shit, and I think it should not be categorized as love. It's just what we. It's like they're using love as an umbrella term. But anyway, that's all I was trying to say, is that she knows how this man feels about her, and I do think that it's a bit manipulative. But hey, girl boss.
She
do your
goes
thing.
back and talks to Henry. She asks Henry, does she love him? Hey, he asks where she been. She said, I went for a walk. I got lost and I fucked Rob.
Yeah, I wasn't sure she was gonna mention it, but she had a plan.
And she asks, how are you? And he says, I'm feeling centered. And Yasmin's like, don't lie to me. And he says he's been struggling. He can't really see joy. He tells her after the ayahuasca trip, he was going home and he just started screaming at the driver to stop. He found his way. He got out the car. He found his way down to the riverbank. He watched the sunrise with some sex workers and then did some smack. He said smack and sent her a message saying that he was deeply connected to her. And then he just said, and we shared needles. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is happening here?
They're setting something up.
And she said,
the fuck? First of all, she said the fuck. And then she was like,
yeah, she was like, we should be practical about this. And then we cut to dinner and everyone's mingling. And Lord Norton gives a speech talking about family and what they mean to him. And everybody in his room is his life work and his lives. He wanted to make sure that his life is like an active. Oh, good.
He had just spent this time saying how like he hated growing up in that house. It didn't really feel like a place where there was love and like real connection. And he says like, for the memories of this house, it's wonderful to have us here. So he really is like, bro, like my chosen family's here. I'm grateful. And that was, in a fucked up way, I kind of like Lord Norton because I feel like he is very much living in misogyny. Like you said, he has some misandry in there. Like he's all these complicated things, but he really is a definition of somebody who like, there are a lot of really rich people that are decent people and they just don't use that to help people in need. And so therefore I categorize him as like incrementally not a good person. But like if you put the fact that he could help he could send out food packets to people who are hungry and in world hunger, like Elon could have done. If you put that to the side, this man is like a family man who cares about his family, cares about his daughters, and is like, those things. I thought that was sweet.
So then she said, thanks everybody for sharing it. Otto gives a toast, and then Henry stands up and is like, I got an announcement.
He said it wouldn't be me if I didn't say something, if I didn't selfishly make it about me for a second. And I'm like, I'm thinking it's some other shit, or I'm thinking he's gonna like tell another speech to about, I'm just thinking he was joking and like about to make it about him for like a split second, then back to his uncle. But no, he actually has an announcement.
I thought I had the scene. The picture. I don't have the picture of the scene, but I have the sound of the scene.
We should be practical.
No, you got to go back
No, this
a
is
little
it.
bit. No, he hasn't made the announcement yet.
No, this is after the announcement. That's why I
That's what
said
I'm
he
saying.
makes.
You didn't say the announcement. We didn't say the announcement. So the announcement is that they're
Oh, the
fucking
announcement
engaged.
is we're getting married, y'all.
And I was like, surely this is a joke. And I look over and she's serious.
She's serious. And then we get a flashback to them finishing the conversation that they started earlier.
We should be practical. So do you love me?
Yes. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too selfish. Do you love me?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I want commitment. I want a partner.
Yes, you're not serious. Look at the state of me. You want me to what? You want me to propose? Get down on one knee like this? To tell you I'm yours forever and I'm incapable of letting you down? You're not serious. If I asked you to marry me, you'd say no. Is this some kind of game?
I love this music choice.
You really want to spend a life with me?
Henry, you have me at Net-a-Porter.
This bitch.
I can't.
You had me in Net-a-Porter is crazy.
I don't even have a ring. You just have a ring.
She walks over, grabs the ring out of her fucking purse, and it's the ring she took off her daddy's dead hand.
Thanks, Daddy. Henry, I deserve everything.
She deserves everything, Chanel. Show that woman some respect.
Can't.
Kid Cudi says, I knew when she wore that Net-a-Porter dress she was in. Yep. Leah said, I was just looking for your video earlier. Hey, Leah. Thank you.
What's up? Yeah, then they have this scene where, I mean, I'm upset. Like, they have this scene where, you know, Robert's like, what the fuck? Because Robert goes and he just goes, wait a minute. I came at you 6 hours ago. Like, it hasn't all drained yet. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you just told me, you just made me tell you I love you. And she immediately went. And I think this is what I'm trying to say. It's still using Robert in a way to know this is in the back of your head and not communicate, because she ultimately still gave Henry the ultimate respect that she did not give Robert, because I think that like information and communication is true form of respect and trust and love, right? So it's the same thing as like when men are like, oh, this is a random example, but like when men are like, oh, I don't want to do XYZ with my wife, I feel like I respect her. That's not actually respect, because now there's some random sex worker that knows what your real kink is and your wife is at home none the wiser, right? It's like the person that you go and tell everything
Right.
to is actually the person you're giving respect to. And so Robert could have handled that. Like, mind you, it's better for the show. Like, it was more compelling to watch. But Robert could have handled a more honest conversation, or you telling him, hey, this is what this is for me, and letting him choose whether or not he wants to have it with you. And
I disagree.
anyway, okay. And then they have this like beautiful, very, very beautiful scene where like everyone goes away and it's just them two at the table. And she says, I'm sorry. And he says, I understand. And I do believe he understands. I just think that that's like the ultimate tragedy of using Robert. Like, again, you talked before about like, this is the only man who's ever hugged her and it's not been sexual. Robert mind you, yeah, he did want to have sex with her season 1, but like Robert cares for her. She has a man who let him sleep in the bed with her a couple episodes ago, and he was just there to comfort her, right? So I do think she's taken for granted because he does scratch offs. Like because he doesn't own a whole media conglomerate and does scratch offs, it's like it just was never going to happen for her, and that's why she's ultimately, yeah, she's leaning into herself. Um, and the reason why I think I respect Harper more ultimately is because Harper's not even playing the hand she's dealt. Harper fucked her situation up for herself and still was like, fuck it, I want to be ambitious. I think that being a lady of a manor to me, like, is there's a role for it that I just don't see. I don't see it for, but I'm also not Yasmin's target demographic. I wouldn't be following her as an influencer. Like I'm not into trad wife content. Like I am I'm officially off the Yasmin train, but I agree with you that this is the most organic expression of her character, and I am happy for her to have that because I do think that like in this character's trajectory, this is the best decision for her, and she should be there. And she does not, and Robert doesn't deserve for her to be like doubting him in 2 years, talking about how he can give her what Henry could give her, cheating with Henry anyway, or whatever the fuck was going to happen if she kept things the way they were. So for all those reasons, I'm like, yeah, I think
I saw this as Yaz taking her own power, making her own power, finally coming to grips with who she is and accepting who she is and saying, I'm going to be the best of who I actually am. Not the best person I can be, but the best of who I actually am. While also saying there's a saying, I've never really seen this done in television, but there's like a saying that if you love them, let them go. And this was like the best visual representation of that because I don't think she could have a conversation with Rob about this because the way Rob's been emotionally with her has not been healthy for him. So I think that she felt like the way that I can get him to be his best self is for him to see it this way, right? For him to see, oh, Chanel dropped. Let's see when she comes back. But I think it was for her to see that this is the best version of yourself. You have to go. I can't go with you. And I need to show you that like there's no chance of you being with me. And the only way that you can know that there's no chance of you being with me is by telling you that, showing you that I'm being with someone else. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted by Chanel dropping. Hopefully she'll come back. I just sent her a text message. We got a couple chats before we move on to the next section. Kid Cruddy says, Yaz is coming to her power. I've been waiting for her to lean into who she was literally born to be, utilizing all the things she hates about herself to her advantage. She's being practical. Exactly. That's exactly the truth, which I talked about earlier, that the conversation that they had with Harper and her, both of them took those things to heart. Leah said, I can see that, but I think Rob is low-key relieved. He was smiling, driving away. He loves her, but also knows that's not his person. She has to do what she has to do to survive. Exactly. I agree in both ways with that. And so Chanel should be back in a second. So we'll keep it moving. Then, like you said, they cut back to the dinner. We saw those looks from each other. Rob says he understands, as Chanel said. I said this is the best for both people. Then we see Yaz going shooting with Henry. Rob's packing up. They kind of give each other a look and a smile, and he drives away. And it was such a crazy scene, seeing Rob, a dude from the north side of London, driving away from this insane estate in a fucking zip car. I died. I was like, yo, that's such a contrast to just show like this is not his world. This entire episode was very heavily on class and where people fall in the social structure. And this was basically like them showing like, you don't even belong here. You don't belong here. I don't know if this is good for me. I need to go where I belong. And so I thought that was fantastic. And then it cuts to black. And it almost made you seem like the episode was over, but it wasn't actually over. And then you see Pierpoint and you realize as soon as Eric walks in that there's the Pierpoint sign changed to Al Mirage Pierpoint. And that's when you immediately know, oh, this is a time jump. I think the time jump was probably, it had to be at least 2 to 3 months, right? It had to be at least a few months. Rob's hair grew out. Like the deal of Al Mirage buying Pierpoint went through. Like there's a lot of red tape and shit like that goes into those types of deals. So that took some time to happen. So Yaz, which we'll get to, Yaz is planning a wedding and that's coming up. So it had to be at least a couple months have gone by since everything that we saw in the first part of the episode had happened. But Eric walks into Pierpoint. He sees the Al Mirage sign. He comes into the room and there's the HR man right there, just like season 2's finale, which is kind of crazy that they did that, because it wasn't as cutthroat as the one with Harper at the end of season 2. Like that shit was like, oh shit, like it's about to go down. This one was like, yo, they did my man dirty. Like I can't believe they did that. Hold on, I'm texting Chanel because her Wi-Fi is going. She just texted me. Oh, there she is. Chanel, can you hear us? She'll jump on. She'll be able to hear in a second.
That was the most ghetto shit in my life. My computer just stopped connecting to the internet. Sorry, guys.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay. We had just talked about how I said that when he pulled off, they showed like the big estate from like a drone view. And then you see Rob pulling off in a fucking zip car, driving from this giant estate. And I just thought that was so amazing.
No, they were loading up Land Rovers to go hunting, which is like the most ludicrous luxury thing you could do. And this man was packing his own little like rolly bag away suitcase. Yeah, no, for the zip car that he hired. With that said, though, I'm actually glad I skipped over this part because this part is where I got emotional because I was like, she really played my boy. And I know there's other ways to look at it, but I think that like,
well, yeah, while you were gone, we got a couple chats that I want you to see. So Kid Cuddy says, Yaz is coming to her power. I've been waiting for her to lean into who she was, literally born to be, utilizing all the things that she hates about herself to her advantage. She's being practical.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not
wrong.
And
then Leah said, I can see that, but I think Rob is low-key relieved. He was smiling, driving away. He loves her, but also knows that's not his person. She has to do what she has to do to survive. Leah.
Yes. Exactly. I was thinking there's the only way I'm okay with this is if that smirk at the end was Rob being like, thank God. Like, honestly, didn't want to deal with that shit anyway. Like, because if he's walking away thinking, oh, she played me or whatever, I think it's just, I don't want to frame it where I just want to be careful to frame it as if like Henry was objectively better than Rob. Like, I think.
Well, no, nobody thinks that. It's that he's better for Yasmin than Rob.
Right. And I think, and she's better for Yasmin because Yasmin refuses to change and grow. I agree.
No, because Yasmin doesn't want to live that life.
Because she refuses to change and grow.
Although, no, that's not true.
Same thing.
When I hear a bunch of like black dudes in the nerd space when doing those podcasts, that would be the like
incels.
They didn't like me because I like anime. Like that type of person, yep. Right? And the thing there is that, or they only like Domingo, or they want somebody who's 6'2", or they want somebody who makes a certain amount of money. And I'm like, yeah, all those things are reasonable things, right? Like you should want someone who meets the lifestyle that you live or want to live, and that's okay. And so Yasmin's basically like, I'm not ready to go live. I'm not ready to be driving around in a zip car, packed to the gill, living in a 1-bedroom apartment. That's not who I am. That's not who I've ever been. I'm not trying to live that lifestyle. When women get divorced from rich people, if you're not as rich as your husband and you get divorced, you can get alimony so you can live the lifestyle that you're accustomed to, right? Like that's the whole point of it, right? Even if you don't have kids, you can still get millions of dollars because you should be able to live the lifestyle that you've become accustomed to, which I think is how it should work. And that's essentially what Yaz is saying is like, I don't want to live that lifestyle. That's not me. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think positioning that means that Rob is worse. It just means that that's not who he is. And then he's realizing this is not who I am. I'm from North London. Like, I'm not of this world. That is not who I am.
I think you're right. I mean, I think there's somebody though who's going to see this as a money thing, and like money is better than not having money. And I think what I just want to say here, and this is not necessarily even responding to you, is that one, I think Robert will do very well. And I demand for this show to give me a Robert Millionaire, right? A Robert Nicole Part 2 adaptation where like he's making good money.
No, please don't
right?
give him another Nicole.
No, not a Nicole person. Like she's Nicole version 2, because Nicole was like, that's how they connected. She was like, I'm from nothing and they have to fucking respect me because I have so much money. And
Yeah,
so
but I hope
that's what I want.
He's a much better person than her.
Oh, for sure. I mean, obviously, like I don't want him to be like someone who sexually
Leah
assaults.
said, how can I donate to the pod?
Great
Tell
question.
her,
Fuck what I'm saying right now. Let me interrupt to say, you can go to anchor.fm/WeWasPodcast, and there's a way to sign up for listener support. So you can support us monthly for $1, $5, or $10. Otherwise, no, we do not have the other way set up of like just giving a donation. We're still figuring that out. But like, if you want to support that way, please do. And then another way you can support is just straight up like liking, subscribing, doing it here, sharing the podcast, retweeting us, following us on x.com or x/Twitter at we was watching. All of that matters. Like right now, if we wanted to, Yasmin definitely was born in that manner and is gonna die in that manner. Like she's made her choice. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you guys for your comments. So anyway, to finish what I was saying, I think that there is a conversation about like he loves her but is not in love. His sympathy is why she's on that trip in the first place. That's a fact. You're right. Oh my God, I forgot. She wasn't even supposed to be in that car. She wasn't even supposed to be here. Like the fact
she
that
wouldn't leave the house.
She wouldn't leave the house. She wasn't going to hear from Henry. She wasn't going to call Henry. Like all of this happened. She might not have even answered Maxim's call. So like Robert really was a part of like her. Robert really was an angel for her, to put it clearly. But anyway, I'm just trying to manifest for Robert that he does make new money and he is a bajillionaire because of mushrooms. And I'm not saying I want it because I want Yasmin to regret it. I just want Robert to get what he deserves because that is one of the only good people on this fucking show. And I want him to
maybe
him to like have some.
Petra's a little cutthroat, but I think she's like,
yeah, I actually say that too. Yeah, Petra. By the way, and again, if you watch Barry, then you know that's Sally and you already ride for this white woman. So like if you are with me on the Barry, I can't believe Barry's over, but like Barry is a show. Fuck Harry Potter. I would tell you to go watch Barry. To this day, I want you to start Barry. Like if you rewatch Barry, if you watch Barry, let me know. I'll rewatch it with you just to talk about it. Like not even on the podcast, just like as a friend.
So after the time jump, we checked the Pierpoint, and as I said, when Chanel was coming back, there's an Almirage Pierpoint sign. That's how we knew we had a time jump.
Just to be clear, and going back to the Barclays Pierpoint, when Adler was being a dick and he was like, which one is it? Is it Barclays Pierpoint? Pierpoint Almirage just sounds better. Like they're doing a lot out, like to put the J before the P, like Pierpoint and then a vowel would have been better. So that's how you know they're really like egotistical about this shit, because Pierpoint Almirage flows. Almirage Pierpoint doesn't have the same kick.
Okay. Branding champion.
Do you hear it?
They both sound ridiculous to me. He comes into the room and there's an HR man, just like with Harper season 2. It's just like the finale of season 2 where Harper walked into that room.
Oh yes, yep.
It's the same thing.
Oh, what is this? So yeah, like he had done this whole thing to be like to push Adler out and get what he's rightfully deserving, and he's like, "You niggas about to chop me?"
He saved the company, and they're like, "You out of here." And but Wilhelmina's like, "No, this ain't that." They were basically like, Almirage got in, they're doing a bunch of cuts, and they're cutting the whole London division. So like, you really don't have no purpose here no more. And then he was like, well,
remember season 2, that was the whole thing, is like, this man really has survived a bunch of storms because they've been trying to cut the London office and it's actually happening for once. But the good news is like, they're not doing it in a way of like, they're not doing it in like a, before it felt like a punishment of like, who's going to be the most cutthroat, who's number 1 out of the top 5 or whatever. This is more just like, sorry guys, like you saved the company and killed yourself.
And they here's the thing. Corporations can be shit, but I actually think they were thanking Eric for saving the company here and bringing these two companies together. Because listen, Eric's been there a long time. He's done a good job. He ain't been an executive long enough to get $20 million buyout. He was a salesperson.
No, you're right.
That's a golden parachute CEO type buyout, right? He ain't been there long enough for that. So they were basically like, we appreciate what you did for us. But they told us that there were a lot of cuts, and he was like, what about Tom? And they was like, yeah, dog, Tom is up out of here because Al Mirage don't fuck with his lifestyle. And I was like, oh.
Like nobody thought, we were so pressed to get this deal done. Nobody thought about like, are they gonna get rid of the women and the gays? Like nobody thought about like, wait a minute, this is still Saudi Arabia. What are we talking? WWE, fuck all that. This is still the Saudis. Like they want us here in 3-piece suits every day. Like, what are we doing?
Sasha said who they say doesn't fit. That was Tom, the CEO, the new CEO. Didn't fit the life. So they got rid of his ass quick.
Robert or gave Eric a thumbs up after his speech. Like, here, good job, bro. Like, I thought him and Tom was gonna be a dream team, but yeah, they got Tom the fuck up out of there.
Eric
Tom's
was like, good for you. You went from Madam ESG to mouthpiece of the state.
Get her again for me on the way out.
And
that's a scrappy bitch right there.
They was like, Eric was like, all right then, so y'all, I'm the head of securities. I know what my contract says. And then she was like, that's what we don't hate you. That's why we giving you this generous gift. And he was like, what is it? And the dude was like, $20 million over 48 months. And Eric's face was like, excuse me, stocks? And he was like, nah, cash. Straight cash, homie. That's what we rock with, straight cash. And I was like, that's crazy. 20 million over 48 months.
I'm trying to think of what he's making. So like, even if he's touching $1 million a year, that's definitely.
I love these comments, by the way. I can't even post all of them. They're going so fast.
Yeah, y'all are giving me comments with the like I can't even, the idea that we have people watching live with us interacting is like, it's mind blowing. But I do want to say like, so I'm trying to think about it like this. 30 years, if you get severance pay for, so like when I got laid off before, it was every year gave you an additional month, something like that. So 30 years times 12 months is 360. Wait, that's not a good way to think about it. What did I just say?
He was there 28 years.
28 years. Did I say, oh, so it's a year per month. So 30 months, right. So he would have got paid for like 2.5 years. So like they definitely gave him like 5.
Eric was not making $8 million a year.
No, they gave him like 5 to 10 times what he would have made. So yeah, it definitely is a parachute. And I agree with you. Like again, she did right by him. And as you said with Rishi, as you said with Robert, like actually all of them have been pushed out of Pier Point. And all of them in different ways, but it's actually the better for all of them. Like Robert left on his own instead of being Robert being fired. Robert said, you know what, maybe I don't need to be here. I'm gonna go out and do my thing. And Robert picked a fake sick day on the best days of the of the year to like not to be fake sick.
Like Robert, they make about $1 to $3 million a year as an MD, right? So if you got 20 million, they took care of him.
5 to 10. And then the Yasmin got pushed out in a terrible way to push her towards her true self. We already know Harper did need, I'm sorry, but Harper needed to not be in that environment.
Oh yeah, we'll get to Harper. It's coming up next.
Yeah, I'm just saying her layoff from Pier Point wouldn't have been have gotten her to where her development was because she had to like soften up. And I do think that like when she was there for Yaz, I do think when like she helped her after her dad died, I do think that was a real part of Harper that she hadn't been able to really facilitate being at Pier Point. And then the last person being Eric is like, yeah, he's honestly, Eric might have had the most epic. If this is the end of Eric, I'm getting kind of emotional thinking about it. He played like, give that man his award because somebody tweeted, they said the fact that you had a tear in your eye for a nigga who just got paid $20 million to walk out the door is crazy. Like you really felt for him after that. Oh, okay, we're almost there.
So Eric, they basically like, we ain't tell the rest of the London heads. Eric was like, yo, I'm gonna do them a solid. They know me. Let me call them. That'll be my last official act. So then they cut the Leviathan Alpha. Sweet Pea's there. Everybody's happy and shit.
This shit really.
What?
This gave me life. Yes, so like you said, everyone's happy. They have this like new nice girl who's coming in. What are you gonna play from the auto part or the?
Yeah, I got the auto part. So
okay,
then,
so they have this
good.
nice. Wait, I want to do it because this is my favorite scene of the whole episode. So they have this nice girl they've hired in the front. They have Anuraj in the corner. They have Sweet Pea. Everyone's working good. Fucking Petra's walk around giving gold stars. She's like, "You guys are rocking it. This is an awesome team." And then the girl has jelly donuts, which, by the way, Pierpoint never ever had a motherfucking jelly donut on the floor. Right? It was like they would eat sometimes, whatever, but we never ate donuts. Like it's just such a quintessential happy food. So she walks around and she goes, "Now this, mind you, would have also been the thing that had me submitting my resume because you don't understand how I don't think anyone understands how much Black people do not want to be family/friends at work. I just don't think people really can like wrap their heads around it. I want to be nice when we go to work. I don't give a fuck about a team dinner. I don't give a fuck about a team building. I don't give a fuck about anything that happens on a Saturday or a Friday. I just want to go to work and go home. So if I'm giving you that extra time, just know I really fuck with you." And they came and had the nerve to say, "Hey, for the next year, every first Wednesday, we're going to Cheesecake Factory as a family."
No, not every first Wednesday. Weekly. Every week, every Wednesday.
No, I think she said first Wednesday because every Wednesday is insanity.
No, it was every Wednesday we're having a team dinner.
I can't. That's what I'm saying. I would have put she would have said, "You okay?" I would have been like, "Yep, I'm opening up a Google Doc and I'm finding a resignation template." Because how the fuck are you gonna take my Wednesday nights? Like who? Like that's like I can't help you understand how much like I can sometimes I speed home just to be by myself. Like I don't want to go to dinner. So it's like she's a co-founder of this firm. Of course, like it's expected that she'll be there. It's expected that she'll be a good team leader. It's expected she'll be a champion for women. She won't let any harassment happen. Like all these things that she set up. Her and Petra talked about it, and she's like, "I don't want to be in a silo anymore." She has this offer from Otto that she turned down. Right, like she's on the right path, and she just realized like this is literally like it's the same thing as 3 screaming kids in the back of a car and lottery scratch off. She's like, "I don't want this life. I came in here to be an ambitious bitch, and I'm gonna be an ambitious bitch. And I don't like that we are following the rules. Like I just don't like it. And I tried it."
It's funnier than that.
Go ahead.
She's a millionaire now. At least we're led to believe. She's she's doing really well. She's got an equal partnership with someone who respects her, who also is like, "I don't need you as a friend," right? That's what we talked about before. She's got people who owe her everything because she got them out of Pierpoint. And she's got this really nice girl giving out donuts. And Harper's like, "I got all of this, or I could do some illegal shit. Like I got illegal shit, man, or I got this. I got the threat of going to jail, or I got this nice quiet life in London. Bruh, give me that jail. I need that jail, dog. I need that. Like, I need that. I need that jail, dog."
It would be something different. It would be new. I could see who I like. You could see Harper running a jail. Harper would dominate a women's prison. Like she's like, "Look, give me the challenge." That's season 5. She's like, season 5 is Harper is the new Black. Like put me in. Like I'm trying to tell you, I woke up, I got up on my seat, I said, "Let's fucking go Harper Hive. Let's go. Bad people every day, all day. We're not changing. Let's go. Give me."
But this is how you know she's so fucked up. She looks around, she realizes this ain't for me. She looks on the screen and she gets a notification that Jesse Bloom was released from prison after 24 months of tax evasion, and her dick got hard. It was like, oh man, tax evasion? My boy's back? My boy that gave me inside trading on CNN Live is back? Oh, I got to get up out of here.
I mean, part of it, it's like, it really is her toxic ex is back in town. Like, it truly is. And I went, okay, so to be fair, though, the next scene, I was like,
Kid Cudi quote is Freaky Zeke. Don't call me illegal, Herbert. I'm illegal, motherfucker. That's exactly right. Freaky motherfucking Zeke.
So the very next scene, when there's a man walking up, I was like, "Bitch, if you about to give me skunk hair Jesse, I'm gonna lose my mind." Like I knew, like, okay, yeah, I knew it was Otto, but I was like, I thought we were gonna get a Jesse Bloom cameo, and I was just like, give me what I need. What do you mean?
I'll tell you at the end. We did.
Okay, keep going.
But here we go. Then we get this scene with my boy Otto and Harper.
I don't usually let people walk away from me twice.
If I work for you, the risk to me is huge. So, the proposition is mine, and mine entirely. I am going to run a short-only fund.
You'll be popular.
Hating on short selling is a political pawn.
Do you know how terrible she is? She's like, I don't want to work at this fund that I built. I want to come work for this mysterious, like, rich cabal man. And not only do I want to come work for you, I only will come and work for you if I can run a business that bets on other businesses to fail. Like,
He said,
it will give
I want
me
to be
joy.
the Grim Reaper. I want to be the Grim Reaper fund. I want when we come around, niggas put what's his name? Oh my God. Omar coming. I want to be like
Yes,
running
it's the
high,
Omar
'cause
fund.
If I'm coming for your company, that's just going curtains in 6 months.
I want to run the Omar fund. I want all of y'all to die. That's just going to make me so happy. Like, you just don't know how happy it is. And then this part.
Market needs short sellers.
Short selling generates bad ethics PR.
You're wrong. The fund will look like a white knight. We'll knuckle down on companies who might be misleading the market.
I don't believe you. Oh, we only going to go after Tesla and Trump's company and
How'd you call out Tesla?
no, you're not, Harper. We don't believe you. You need more people.
Committing fraud or engaging in unethical business practices.
We will find the liars. We will find vulnerabilities. And therefore, what is misprized?
Using a combination of forensic accounting and corporate espionage.
Let me get that short Sunday. I want a short Sunday. And can you put the cherry of illegal corporate espionage on top? That's the only way I'm coming. If you got
And
a
it's
Sunday,
her saying it out loud, her saying the quiet part out loud, like, yeah, we're literally gonna cheat. Like, let's say that up front, like, we're cheating, right? Like, we're on this, okay, great, yeah. So I'm gonna get secrets, and it's gonna be mostly secrets, and we're gonna dominate.
yeah, I only want to work with you if we about that insider trading, dog. Like, if you ain't about the insider trading, I ain't got nothing for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Corporate
Because
espionage.
literally, how else would we win? I can't understand how else we would win if we don't cheat. I don't get it.
And it's the exact opposite of Petra, because Petra is very cutthroat. Like, she's not like Anna, who's like a fake progressive. She's like, I'm not a terrible person, but like, I'm trying to make money, but like, I don't have to do it illegally. Like, I am
Yeah.
good enough.
She's like, I'll deal with it.
We are
Yep.
good enough to win on our own. And
Mhm.
Harper's like, yeah, but where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
Where's the fun?
There-
I can't go to
there-
jail doing it that way.
There's different economists, right? So some believe in like the invisible hand. Petra's like, you know what? The market will correct itself. Like, I believe in it. I'll just do my thing. The laws are there for a reason. Oh, we learned a lot in 08, 09. Like, that's what it is. And Harper's like, no. I can be the invisible hand. I can be the reason why things topple over. Like, I need her. I need season 4 right now.
Would you like me to say it again?
What gave you this idea?
If someone had been inside Lumi, close to your godson from the jump, we would have always known it was a short. You want information.
We will be drowning in it. A lot of it above board, some.
Let's say we'll have compromise and leverage so that we are always right and always on time.
Compromise is crazy. Compromise is crazy.
That's subversive. That's very smart.
I love Otto. He's very smart. He don't give a fuck.
Fraudsters is quite a
He said earlier it was something about like you could have a chance of like the FBI showing or whatever, whatever showing up at your door or something like that. And that was like thrilling.
Guys,
It's only criminal if we're caught.
That's a wild thing to say.
I want to run it from New York.
She's not
I
wrong.
think I'm ready to go home.
Have you heard from Jesse?
Oh, yes. I'm sure he'll throw in a few bucks. I told him we were meeting today.
The way he
He
said
asked
that you
if you were
bugged it.
happy. I said, she seemed it the last time I saw her, and he said, that's no way to live.
She seemed happy the last time I saw her. That's no way to live. These two are meant for each other.
And that's why it's like you do have to let go of the one you like to find the one you love. Because she thought Jesse was her match. She thought Jesse was the one she needed, but Otto is actually the real daddy. And so please give me Otto. I just need to go find this actor and other stuff because just the way he talks, he's so rich.
He has to be a stage actor.
Yeah, he
has
all
to be
these
a
British
stage
actors,
actor.
all these British actors are amazing actors who are just like doing this shit casually. So like
Sasha
I fuck with
says
him, but
oh, sorry, I was talking over you. It was a little bit of delay. Go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Sasha said I played Otto and Harper's scene over like 5 times. Yeah, it was fantastic.
That's just sexy. I'm telling you, I'm attracted to Otto. I'm telling you right now.
Janelle says Harper loves danger. Hold on. Harper loves danger, but she's the financial Dexter. That is good.
Y'all, yes. Come on,
Kid Cudi
analogy.
says she worse than Mitt Romney. Leah says, I feel like she'll be humbled next season. I'm not ready. Oh, that's the story of this show. Harper gets up and then someone brings her down.
But each time she gets up a little bit more, and that's the climb. That's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. We're here for this up and down with her.
Janelle said there would be a Jesse Harper thing. Definitely. There's definitely going to be a Jesse Harper thing.
No Leo, though. Keep Leo out. I'm good on the sun.
I think we're going to see Harper's mama, too, next season. Now that she's going back to New York.
Her Scandinavian ass, because you know she's mixed with some random shit.
You think they're going to make her mama white?
No, you don't remember from the brother scene. Her mom is definitely like Scandinavian. So she's
really?
like an Austrian immigrant. Yeah, and then her dad, I just have to believe her dad is like Patrick Mahomes' daddy. Because every mixed person that's successful has like a nigga as a dad and then the most random white woman you could ever find. So that's just what I'm imagining.
So then they cut back to Pierpoint and Eric's there and he shows up with a bat. I'm like, oh, he about to fuck some shit up. But he didn't. And he gets on the...
No, remember he used to carry the bat around. The bat was just like his prop. I don't remember where it came from. Like somebody probably gave it to him, but that was like his thing on the floor where he would just, people would see it as intimidating, but he would just walk around swinging that bat, hitting it in his hands.
He sits down, he puts on his headset. It's like the last time I make some calls. And he starts crying. And I was like, oh, this is sad. This is emotional.
I hate when men cry.
This is the end of his...
He cried like a man who haven't cried in 7 years. I'm like, damn, cry more often so it flows better. Like you're blocked up.
I couldn't tell difference from when he was crying and when he was jacking off in the bathroom. Sound the same to me.
That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. And I need men to put 2 and 2 together. Anyway.
So then they cut to Yaz and she planning her wedding. And she had a wedding list that had Harper Stern. It was like, these are people who have not RSVP'd yet. At the top of the list was H. Stern, and right below H. Stern was B. Obama and M. Obama.
B.H. Obama, Barack Hussein, which pissed me off because we don't need the middle name. There's not another Barack Obama that we get confused about. M. Obama, like you said, they said Malala has said no. Malala is tired of y'all mentioning her for a joke in these shows. The Marquess of Bath, which is like literally like royalty, and then I could not figure out who the fuck T. Vernon was.
And Yaz calls Harper, and this was an interesting scene. She asks why she hasn't responded to her wedding, and yet Harper was like, I thought that shit was just for show. And Yaz was like, no, I want you there. And Yaz was like, I saw you on Forbes 30 Under 30, girl. I saw what you was doing. And
she said,
she
you
was
see
like,
me in Pure Country or whatever the fuck.
No, before that, she was like, I couldn't believe Eric gave you a quote. And Harper was like, yeah, I couldn't believe that shit either. And she asked Harper, did you see me in Real Country? And she was like, no, what issue? She was like, the most recent one. She pulls it up and looks at it, and it's like it's so Yasmin. Like it's so Yasmin.
Like all of a sudden, this bitch has like a hunting rifle. Like she has never talked about hunting a day in her life. We've seen Harper hunt more than Yasmin, and Yasmin's like, "Yep, I'm in my boots and my vest, and she was ready to go from the moment she announced that engagement. She was ready to go.
And Harper was like, "Did y'all control the copy?" And Yasmin was like, "You know, we did."
What the fuck would I do it if I couldn't?
And then Harper was like, "You know what? Who all gonna be there? Who all gonna be there? Is Oprah
Well,
finna
and
be
also
there?"
because she saw like a cover of something that had the black lady they've been using as a pawn like on it, and so I think she's like, well, if you can get me some compromise.
Oh yeah, because she's the prime minister now, Gus's old boss.
Oh, she already got to prime PM. It already happened.
I think that's what that was saying, because it said something like the bank czar or something, something like that.
Well, remember, like they were priming her to be like anti-banks combining before, like she had helped block the Barclays thing.
Hey yo, Janelle said Eric cried more for Pierpoint than for his kids.
Oh yeah, he don't give a fuck about them kids.
Oh my God.
He's gonna get fired, by the way, and not call, like he's not gonna go use his free time to see his kids. If you thought that, you thought wrong.
Sasha said, isn't it crazy how Harper called her like everything is normal? Yasmin acting brand new, like she was not fighting for her life in a previous episode. Yeah.
Honestly, this is the most pure form of their friendship, because like you said, she's like, you're coming, right? She's like, bitch, not unless it's helpful for my job. You know, I eat, sleep, breathe money. So what are we doing? And she's like, you know what? Fine. I'll put you next to the Obamas. I'll put you in between the Obamas. I don't give a fuck. Just come. Like, because I do think now that Yasmin's living in her real self, she's like, damn, this is my only friend. Like, Harper is her only friend, because Harper's one of the only people who's actually a bad person.
And Yas is her only friend. Nobody else want to deal with the motherfuckers. Now that Rob's gone, Rob was their only combined friend, and he out the door. And then we get the most insane scene of the episode, which I did not see coming. Rishi is living in a fucking apartment.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And he walks in and his...
Well, we did see it coming, because Rishi kept saying, I cannot be illiquid.
I didn't know. I saw a confrontation coming. I didn't see what happened coming.
This bitch, I don't know. She learned the ultimate lesson, didn't she?
And
I was like, you are getting too, like, keep going. Just keep going. It blew me away.
Reese, look at the screen capture.
Wait, hold on. Just pull this up.
And then,
why would you do that? There's so many moments you could have chosen. Oh my God.
His wife and Vinay are there, and he's like, hey dog, like happy birthday and shit. Why you living in this little ass apartment? And what happened to your wife? She all blonde and shit now? What the fuck's going on? And her wife is looking nervous. Rishi's looking nervous. She gets him to blow out the candles, and then she starts going off on Vinay. And I got
she's
this
like, all right, send this motherfucker home.
But yeah,
he's
I got
like,
the
why
scene.
is he here? Oh, you got that part from okay there.
Happy birthday, bro.
Thanks. Thank you. Just, I'm not hungry right now.
What is this little bolt hole? Rish, you're not living here on your own, are you?
Yeah.
Smells like a wank palace. Look at that. Fucking generic, innit?
It's just temporary.
Temporary. You lot on the skids or something? I mean, separation suits you though, Di. You look good. Your hair is different. Blondie.
I thought you were done with each other.
No, you're never done with friends, innit?
You're not his friend. You prey on him.
No, he preys on me, Di.
You exploit him.
He exploits my generosity.
Tell him to leave.
He owes me £500,000.
Bruh. Okay. just so everybody knows what happened here. He owed him 250,000 pounds. She took her podcast money. By the way, I hope we get 250,000 podcast money.
Correct.
But she took her podcast money,
Japanese yen, all of it,
and was like, "Hey, dog, pay him off. Here's your podcast money. Here's for your debts." He took the podcast money. Who knows what the fuck he did with it? We thought he would pay it off, and then he at the end of the episode he was like, "Hey, yo, let me get that 50K from you." So either he paid it off and then built back up another 500K, or he took the 250K from her, blew it, and then borrowed 250 more K from him. He is
Just
in a bad
like-
place.
like, and then has been freaking out this whole time about it, and it's like, bro, you literally doubled your hole. It just doesn't make sense.
Closer to 6 big figure.
Don't cry now.
You broke us. You broke us. You.
Do you hear how pleasant the song is in the background? I don't think you noticed that. I noticed this. If those of you listening, notice how pleasant this fucking song is in the background for what's about to happen. Listen to this.
You broke us. You broke us. You are the worst kind of person because he might be.
Okay, she's wilding up, and they show Vinay's face, and his face is like, Karen, you better stop. I don't fuck with Karens.
I mean, I know you're upset, but it truly is like, bro, you have the man who's telling you you are owed money. It's happening. You're being told. It's very clear, and you are cussing him out. Interesting choice.
Sick and selfish, but you enable him and feed off his sickness.
Brandon,
I couldn't believe
you
it.
laughed so hard.
I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that happened.
Okay.
He then just he gets a bag out the fucking under the sink, covers the gun, and just walks out, and Rishi's just sitting there. Now, before you go, Chanel, Janelle said exactly what I wrote in my notes, which is maybe Rishi gets some life insurance money from his wife's death. Tomorrow I can see him escaping to the U.S. after the wife's murder is settled. I thought Vinay shot him so that he could make a life insurance claim, take that money to pay off his debt.
I don't know that Vinay thought about it as much as she won't shut the fuck up, and therefore I'm gonna kill her. But okay, I don't think the show was doing this on purpose. But what if he sacrificed her?
What do you mean?
What if he planned on him killing her?
Rishi? No, they showed his face. That was not no plan for Rishi.
Okay. Well, that would have been.
This was an
he
insane scene.
For sure. What I read about it earlier was that oh my God, I lost my track on here. So they were talking about how like originally it was supposed to be Rishi who died. And they didn't do that, thank God, because that just would have been like kind of kitsch. So he said, between the relentless moment at the start of the season, Dai's comments about raising strong boys instead of fixing broken men's, what are you guys trying to say about masculinity? And then there's this part where they talk about the murder of it, and they say, oh my God, basically HBO almost didn't let them do this scene. And so they had to like really push for it, and they thought it was important because they're trying to tell like this very interesting story. They say HBO wanted us to keep it as a runner because they thought that it was a big thing to have. Okay, sorry. Let me just start where I'm at because it's too much. Then we start thinking, what if someone very close to him is killed? Obviously, The perfect person was the innocent person in his life, the person who bailed him out, the person that he knows best. He's the only tether to humanity. We came up with that. Mickey down. Can you talk about the decision to kill Diana, how you thought through that? So Mickey said it was one of the moments where me and Conrad snowballed our writing because we came up with the Rishi story in episode 4. We wanted it to feel like a contained thing. At the end, he doubles back down. That was a reflection of the fact that everything's cyclical. Gambler's mentality, addicted to losses as much as to winning. We think we need the show to have consequences to this. We need to show where there are consequences in this world and consequences for people who've never felt them before. HBO wanted that to be a running theme throughout the season because they thought it was a big thing to happen in the middle of the season, which we loved, that it was like contained in this crazy ass episode. But for Rishi to have this reprieve and basically get out of the hole, and we thought that's something that happens over there, but you could suggest that it happens to him regularly. And then we thought it was something we shouldn't let go. We kept thinking, how can we bring Vinay back? How can we bring him in the story? What happened with the syndicate? Has he been collecting more money? Then we thought, what's the biggest thing we could possibly do to show their consequences? Well, for multiple reasons, we didn't want to kill Rishi. We love Sagar. They really want the actor to keep going, which is real. We want to bring him back. We do his 4th season. Yes. We just thought it feels like, I don't know why it feels more like jumping a shark to me than what we actually put in, but it just didn't feel like industry, which I agree. The death of a main character in such a violent way felt like a bit of a betrayal. Thank you. So when we started thinking, what if someone else next to him is killed? The obvious person is the innocent. We came up with that. It was a big idea. We felt like it was something the show had never done before. It was such a big, almost done, but I think this is really interesting. It was originally an outline, and we said, okay, let's just shoot it. And then we shot it, and we were looking at it like, we're not really sure about this. This is pretty gruesome. Then when we put it within the episode and watching the context, we were like, oh my God, it's shocking and diabolical. It's a big moment. This is a real consequence to pretty appalling behavior. Harry's death was brought on by himself, but it wasn't anything he had done wrong to other people. We were nervous about all of it, and I'm still nervous about it. But I think within the context of the episode, it works really well. I wonder how people are going to respond to it because it was such a brutal moment. Well, Brandon just laughed.
Of course.
So if you were
Kid
worried
Freddy
about how it
said,
really...
So will this be his turning point? Will he finally man his lesson and overcome his disease? I don't think this show's about people.
Who knows? Yeah,
that.
there's no way. There's no telling that. Like, that would be, if he learns his lesson, it'll be random. It won't be because...
Also, Conrad and them,
yeah.
they ain't had no guts. They ain't had no guts.
Wait, why you say that?
Let me tell you. George R. Martin in House of Dragon would have killed that baby. That's what would have happened. They'd have shot that baby's ear off. That's what would have happened if this was House of the Dragon. But they ain't got the guts on industry to go shoot that fucking baby. Maybe they will next year.
When I tell you, you're so right that they would have killed that baby dead. That
they
baby
would have killed that baby. They would have punted the baby off the balcony. And that's what would have happened if this was House of the Dragon. People writing it.
I actually could not fucking stand you. Okay, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So then we're almost done. We're coming up at 2.5. I told you it was going to be long, Chanel.
I know. Like,
and
I
so,
can talk about this all day, though.
Then we get Yaz and Alondra. She hired Alondra as a secretary. I was like, look at her. I can't believe she did that.
When she said I want to take care of her, I was like, she could easily be saying kill this girl. I just did not know.
And we forgot to mention, they mentioned Bill's memorial, so he passed. We forgot to mention that. I forgot because 2 people died in this episode.
It was a side note. It was crazy.
Harper Targaryen. Yes. Alondra thinks that Harper is very much a Cersei allegory to me.
See it.
She tells Alondra, all right, let's do this blow though. We went to this boring ass house party last week, but I got some blow left over. And I'm like, she's acting just like her daddy. And Alondra thanks her for giving her employment. She apologizes for ever potentially going to the papers. And Yasmin was like, as long as you understand, if you work for me and we loyal, we good. And so Yaz asks, is your baby my sister? I was like, that's a wild thing to say. And Alondra was like, nah, it's not Charles's. She was like, you sure?
She's like, I have a man, bro. Like, what do you take me for?
And she says, I can't imagine what life was like for you on that boat. And Alondra was like, the tips were excessive. I was like,
she said, yeah. Then she says, he used to have young girls. And I was like
12 and 13.
Anymore. Yeah, when she said 12, Yasmin, I put my drink down too. I said, ew.
And Yaz was like disgusted. And she says, and then Laundra says, listen, if he ever did that to you when you was growing up, just know that you are seen and protected. And then Yasmin was about to say, what the fuck? Like, fuck you. And then she slams the door. And then when she turns back in, Alondra just hugs her. And I gotta admit, this was a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yasmin kind of looks shocked.
This is the real motherfucking Yasmin, honey.
She looks shocked, and then she embraces her and starts breaking down. And then she gets herself together and she walks out the door and she tells Stevens to get rid of her. And I was like, this is an amazing scene. This is an amazing scene. I think because I'm gonna be on Yasmin's side here a little bit.
Please do.
I think that she does not want anything that reminds her of the trauma of her daddy. And finding that out, which triggered what we did not know. I think we all might have assumed something went down with her, her dad, of some level or extent when they were kids, but it was never.
We saw him and saw her, yeah.
But it was never like expressed like directly, and so this kind of confirms that happened. And I think her saying that, it was just like, I can't do this with someone else who knows. Like, I can't do this, and she's got to go. That's how I took it. How did you take it?
Pretty much. Like, I think it's just, I think that she's not a good person. And I think that she's not ready for whatever like healing is actually what she's supposed to be dealing with. And so the fact that like there's another woman, like, you know, going back to why Harper, like Harper would never be like, I see you, I hear you, I'm sorry for what happened. Harper would be like, all right, let's kill him, right? Like, let's cover up the murder. So I think that she's not willing to deal with that part of her past, and in her mind, this Henry thing, all this shit is her way of like taking it and turning it into money instead of actually dealing with it, which would probably be in like a lot of ways the healthier long-term way to go through it. It's not something she's interested in.
Janelle says the news of her father did not surprise me. It's been an underlying theme in the show. The father has always been inappropriate. Yeah, wildly inappropriate. Kid Cuddy says this.
Yeah, like she literally, I mean, again, I argue a lot that like him jumping on top of her and throwing wine in her face was a sexual assault. It doesn't have to be like penetrative grape for it to be like a sexual assault. Like, he's assaulted her. So there's no leap of the imagination to be like, oh, he was doing that to her since a kid, for sure.
There's no way she could have that woman that knows that vulnerable thing about her around. And so the time and it's a constant reminder. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. So then they show Harper on the bridge and she calls Eric. And I was like, this is a perfect way to end this season. She calls Eric. Eric thanks him for the quote. The quote was like, she's really ambitious or something like that.
No, he said she's a brilliant dropout.
Yeah, brilliant dropout. That is so great.
Ambitious as fuck. And she goes magnanimous. He's like, oh, I guess that's one way to take it.
Harper says they really spun the Skype over there. And he asks, how did that make you? Did that make you rich? And Harper says, not enough. And she says, how much did I hope they paid you? And Eric was like, yeah, not enough. I was like, bitch, you got 20 million. Like, what the fuck you want? I mean, and that shows that these two people are never satisfied. There could always
be more money. That's the thing. Like, if you could give me 20, you could give me 25. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to be satisfied when you know there's always more money. That's all I wanted to say.
Eric says wealthy is not the same as being loved. Eric
Which also applies to Yasmin for sure.
Eric then gets genuinely emotional. He has a long pause and says, Harper, you take care. And Harper says, you too. And that might be the last time we see Eric on this show.
I know it might be, but I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping that we find a way. But yeah, I mean, if that is his last time, Ken Jeong, congratulations on a great tenure on this show. Like, really doing it, really giving depth to this character, really being that guy. Like, just very grateful for that.
Rob we closed the show of Rob giving pitches in Silicon Valley. He got a tech bro haircut, so he's really into it. And this is where we see Jesse Bloom.
we're at the end of this episode. No, we don't. Hold on. We're at the end of this
Yes.
episode. There's 20 people watching this episode. Please, everyone, go like this video right now because that is how we get up an algorithm. So before you leave this video on YouTube, like it. Thank you for commenting. That was not Jesse, but who do you tell me what you think?
You sure
happened?
that wasn't Jesse?
Do you know who? No, it was somebody. That's the funny part. It
What,
was
who was
somebody
it?
you know. It was fucking Greg.
Greg who?
Greg from season 1, the one who ran into the got really high on blow and ran into a glass wall.
That wasn't him.
That was Greg who ran into a glass wall and then he wrote a book. And then Harper was like, okay, bye. I guess we're friends. That was 100% Greg. Yeah, I'll give you a second to go look because I said Greg. I was like,
what?
Back. And so we got a Greg. We got a setup for Jesse Bloom. If I don't get another scene with DVD spearhead, if I don't get him spoon-fed into my season 4, I don't give a fuck. It makes no sense. If it's like a chance meeting at a coffee shop, if we're going back to New York and I don't get a DVD sex scene, we're gonna have somebody.
Oh, I thought that was Jesse Bloom. It was Greg. Okay.
That was good. We're gonna have issues if I don't get my.
You
DVD
gotta let
back.
the DVD stuff go. You gotta let it go.
I can't let it go because we're going back to New York. If you can give me Greg for no fucking reason.
Anyway, he got $1 million from Henry Muck, so he's already moving and shaking. And that was the end of the season.
He got $1 million from Henry Muck, and he got $500K from Ashford.
From Ashford,
Asset
yeah.
Management, which means that the guy who said Henry Muck was full of shit thinks he's not full of shit.
Yes.
So
that was fun, Chanel.
New haircut, Robert. By the way, sorry, when he ended it with that confidence and that smile, I said Robert's taking it. Season 4 is his time. He
getting ready to be Harvey Dent.
We have Harvey Dent, the Two-Face.
Yeah, he gonna be Harvey Dent on Thursday and Joker too.
Oh, you mean in the actual? I'm like in this.
Yeah, he's gonna be Harvey Dent
Yeah, wait, on what show?
on Joker 2, the movie.
Oh, for les deux. First of
Yes.
all, I'm already ready for that movie to disappoint me. I'm already ready for that movie
Well, it's
to
gonna
piss me off.
disappoint you.
It's just feeling so artsy and not what I need right now. I need some Joker smash. First of all, R.I.P. Heath Ledger to a real one because I just need
Gus, the permanent smirk did it for me. He did always have a smirk on his face.
Oh no, I miss Gus, but you guys already know how I feel. But yeah, I'm excited to see these actors going and do other things. First of all, I think we got an amazing season 3, like so much stuff. If we could go back in time to earlier this summer, me and you couldn't have predicted a goddamn thing that they did this season, and that's an amazing thing to be able to say on TV. Like the only thing we could say is we hope Harper doesn't go all the way good, or like we want to see if she changes. And I think they gave us the most satisfying version, which is her choice to change, but we all understand why she didn't. Same thing with Yasmin. I do understand her choices, and I think that means that they've really built this character out in a strong way. And I do actually think that for nothing else, for no other reason, to be like in Lord Cotton, what is this man's name? In Lord Blotton's Norton, and his space is like that. It's worth it for that. Same thing with Otto. Like they introduce us to like these uncles, these British uncles that like I do want to see them. Like that's a level of power that nobody at Pierpoint had, because Pierpoint is still relatively new money, even being 150 years old. So like we literally got British real money in here. I think that's something we needed to see to like get the full British picture before we left. And we started this season with Yasmin on a boat, and we ended with Yasmin in a manor, and Robert's doing better, and Venetia's off to save the world, and Anna Gearing is still going out to dinner every week with her team. I don't think we'll ever hear from Petra and them again, and that's okay. Maybe Rishi does go blonde and move to the US. One last thing. Oh yeah. Her hair, they did. So thank you for bringing that up, Janelle. So I just want to say something that really blew my mind when I found it out. Brandon, do you know you can self-nominate for 30 Under 30? Like 30 Under 30 is not like a thing where they're scouring the internet to find the best people. You kind of like put yourself out there and then they say, okay, sure. So I'm glad Harper did 30 for 30, but the comment on her hair, I was like, so they know what they were doing. That matters to me, because if a Black woman's hair does not look right, I need it to be because y'all did that.
But you say her mama white, so how her mama knows her hair fucked up?
we could get into how her mom might have hated how different her hair was. Like that's actually the Black women with white moms talk. So Doja Cat, you brought up feet in the chat earlier. Doja Cat's a great example of somebody who's like, I hate dealing with my hair. Like I never, and then you think like that's probably like the etymology of not having a mother who'd be like, I love your hair, I love your locks, I love your tresses. Like I love, like this is how we deal with our hair. This is how we manage it. This is how we love our naps. And by the way, and I say that because like I for anybody who's looking at me, I know my light was like super bright earlier. I'm 4 Black grandparents. Like I've had locks before. So I say that because I'm like,
okay, Ados.
I say that because I don't want anybody being like, well, what does she know about it? What I'm saying is that like our hair is special and different. And if somebody doesn't want to take the time to get to know how our hair should be cared for and treated, it can turn into like a lot of like self-hating. So anyway, that's not her mama being Scandinavian does not preclude her from having something to say about her hair. But yeah, I'm so sad to let this go. That I rarely am like this about, I think I feel this way at the end of Righteous Gemstones, where I'm just like, damn, this was fun. For the people who've been like jumping in with this, if you just like industry and don't know if you like us, please pay attention to that first 20 minutes where we read the emails and look at the reviews, because we promise if you stick with us for other shows, even shows you're not watching, we'll give you 2 hours or less of content that is going to really give you guys like insights, and we're putting our all into every episode. We ask you to just continue on this journey with us. We've had some really exciting growth. Like our YouTube viewership tripled in the last month. Our Spotify is doing numbers. We're going to keep coming back every week. And I promise you, it is so hard because I'm in school. Brandon is working. Brandon has other shows. Like we have other stuff to do. And we've been doing this for the love of the game. And so we are so grateful whenever you guys show up. So if you keep showing up, we promise to keep showing up and trying to make it better. And if I haven't done it enough, I want to thank Brandon for upgrading our show design this season, for keeping our show episode running in the background, for upgrading my mic, for upgrading his mic, for podcasting in Jamaica, for waiting on me whenever I take too long to get to the stream. And thank you for that, Brandon. This has been so much fun. I literally have set a goal for us by 2026 to sell out the O2 Arena in London. And there's only, if we do that, it's because of you.
Yeah, so we'll be back for the next season of Industry.
Say you're welcome or say something.
You know I say thank you. That was too nice. I don't like the niceness. I need the meanness. Yeah, we'll be covering Industry next season, but until then, we're going to do other shows. Next week, we're going to do Penguin episodes 1 through 3. I enjoyed the first episode of Penguin, so hopefully that'll keep going.
Episode 2 was written by a Black woman. Did you not watch it yet?
I didn't watch Penguin yet. Episode 2. So I'm gonna we'll watch that. We'll do episodes 1 through 3 next week, and then the rest of the episodes after that. And then we're doing Silo on Apple TV, season 2 of Silo, which I really loved. Y'all should go watch that if you can. Apple Plus has the best shows. It's just the best shows.
I'm gonna tell you right now, my prediction Silo season 2 is gonna piss me off, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but that's because you cheated. I hope. Listen. Don't even get me started on that. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. We went long this episode, but it was the finale. We appreciate all of you leaving comments. This was amazing. It really made me happy. Sasha, Janelle, E, Kid Cudi, Leah, all of you, Giga Chad. I see all of y'all. Thank you guys for leaving all these comments.
We said E. Okay, got it.
We'll be back next week. And for the last time this year, Chanel.
Oh my God. Buy the dip, short the VIX, and fuck Bitcoin. Bye, guys.